Welcome everybody to Advantage in Paradise, our weekly actual play stream where we do D&D in our homebrew world of Aradun. As always, our ambient sounds is brought to us by a combination of Sirenscape and Tabletop Audio, and our music is licensed through Soundstripe.com. Check those services out for your own games or streams or whatever you might use music or creepy dungeon sounds for. We don't judge here. But anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Shannon now to talk a little bit about our partners.
Thanks, Sean. All right, before I talk about our partners, we are on a quest for 1K Twitch followers. If we reach our goal by 11:59 p.m. Eastern on December 31st, 2020, we will do a giveaway. It's going to be a really good one. And I will DM a game for these goobers sometime in 2021. That is going to be complete chaos. You're going to want to see it. So spread the word. Paradise needs 1K Twitch followers. All right, our partners. We have Arcane Spectacles, the creator of beautiful spell trackers and other tabletop accessories. Most recently, adorable ornaments for your Christmas trees or wherever you'd like to hang them up. They are so cute. So go check those out. They are so wonderful. And if you would like to purchase something, you can use the code Paradice for 10% off. That is Paradice. And then we have Talon and Claw, the creator of wonderful wooden TTRPG accessories. Most recently, I've seen their coasters, their laser-edged coasters that have the different classes on them. They're so cool. So if you'd like to purchase any of those or any of their DM screens or dice vaults or dice or anything that's in there, also use the code Paradise for 10% off your order. We also have the Underground Oracle Publishing, the creators of wonderful D&D 5e supplements. Cal uses the Prongs of the Black in our campaign that took down a troll in one round. It was super awesome. So sign up for their Patreon and join their Discord to get even more awesome stuff from Jess and Keith. They are two of the most amazing people in the community. Last but not least, we have Eddie York. He is the original character artist for Paradise. You saw our Wayward 5 on the waiting screen. He did all of those. Be sure to check him out on Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon. He's wonderful, so talented, and such a great guy. Last thing, and then we're going to get into tonight's game. So far, we've raised $820 for Jasper's Game Day. This is the fundraiser that's continuing from Stefan's one-shot last month. So we are so close to our goal of $1,000. If one of you, can you do !donate if you would like to donate? That would the link will be in there, and it would be great if you could support an awesome cause. We love Jasper's Game Day and their message of you are not a critical failure and you do not have to roll initiative alone. All done.
And one last plug that I've been doing lately is, speaking of Jasper's Game Day, I will be DMing a table for one of the next Jasper's Game Day events hosted by Are You Sure You Want to Do That? And I believe, I just forgot what channel it's going to be on. I forgot his name, but it's okay. You can find on socials, you can find on my socials, the pinned tweet is your ability to bid to be at a table. You can bid on mine, you can bid on one of the other tables, but just do whatever you can to donate to this excellent cause that we have grown such a great relationship with. But if you've always wanted a chance to play in a game in Aradun with me DMing, this is your opportunity. Just donate and bid. The bids close in 4 days, I believe is when they close. But yeah, check it out. All right. All right. Let's get started, folks. Last we met, the Wayward Five prepared to descend into the shadows of the Linden Crypt in the town of Summerlinden to oust a shadowy entity known as Myas, who moments earlier killed and stole the soul of their beloved cleric, Kiron. Their new allies from Sumerlinden held back a swarm of undead as our heroes entered the sepulchre to save their friend in this town. Beyond the realms of the living, in some other place, some other time, Curon found his soul being shepherded through an ethereal pasture by a mysterious man. This shepherd of sorts called himself the Wayfarer. He spoke to Curon about the passage of life and death. And in this process, Curon questioned him about his fate, why he was there, and in this time noticed that the man had shackles on his arms, the chains leading to nothing. Sorry, I need to mute some Discord servers that are active. And beeping in my ears. Anyway. But it wasn't long as Curon rested in this pasture before cracks of thunder in the skies hinted of something was wrong. The Wayfarer warned him that his time here was short and that some entity was pulling him back. And this is when Curon found himself falling into the shadowy realm of Maius' domain. Here, the nightmare seer taunted the cleric with promises of breaking his will and assimilating him into the hive mind that was Maius, that was the Scaith Fulum, a race of Shadowfell creatures that leached the fears and nightmares of individuals to feast. But Curon taunted him back and promised that he would never break his will as long as he had the blessings of Ilyuvania. Back in the world of the living, the Wayward Five entered the main chamber of the crypt. It was here they found a dimly lit room, several sarcophagi, large, beautiful stained glass windows, and a trap that they did discover, but one of them was not so lucky as they tried to pass through it. As they were very bold, and their only recourse was, let's just jump through it really fast. But Scarlet, unfortunately, even though she and Wiswick together discovered the trap, found herself captured by shadowy chains that emanated from the walls and clung to her wrists. As Cal began using the acidic ooze of the Prongs of the Black to rip through these chains, a shadow began to appear behind him and the form of Maius, while simultaneously torturing Curon in some shadowy realm, joined the fray, and a battle ensued. Cal was able to sever one of the chains from Scarlet's arms, so she fell to the side, clasped by one arm to that chain. And before she could get a chance to rend herself free, Maius unleashed a nightmare pulse that ripped through the party, knocking several of them unconscious, as they had entered these crypts quite injured already. A struggle of a battle commenced after this, as Maius summoned forth a visage of Curon, wreathed in shadow, to fight against his former friends, forcing the dead cleric to watch as he attempted to kill his own friends. Didn't get very far because the monk of the party stunned him the entire time. But still, much was lost in this fight as Maius opened portals that vacuumed all around it into his domain, unfortunately tearing Scarlet from the chains. She lost an arm as her unconscious body clambered into this shadow domain in front of Curon, held himself aloft by chains. As the battle ensued, many fell unconscious. Scarlet lost this limb, and ultimately an earth elemental was summoned by Wiswick to try to turn the tides of the battle. Maius was defeated in the material plane as his form dissipated. But those portals, those shadowy black holes remained. Perhaps overwhelmed with the giant potion he was given by Prim the Alchemist, Cal decided there was no recourse but to jump into this portal after Scarlet. And it was there that he found the form of the true form of Maius torturing Curon. The rest of the party joined him, save Wiswick, who began to explore this chamber and to keep an eye on whatever might come if Maius were to reform. And much as he may have suspected, shortly after, Maius's material planar form began to reconstruct itself. Within this plane of existence, this demi-plane of shadow, they fought Maius once more. And through this sheer will, the party survived until they were able to reunite Curon with his moonstone reliquary of Iluvania. And Curon himself was able to best Maius's will, and he was brought back to them then, in full force. And their victory was secured against the vile Scaith Fulum Dreadlord, who now had fear in his own eyes. After defeating the creature, exhausted, tired, little will left, found themselves back in the crypts, breathing a sigh of relief and some pain. Scarlet collapsed against a tomb, slowly found herself falling asleep, having been cursed to never sleep again before. Cal joined her, and exhausted they sat together. Everyone rejoiced at the return of Curon, and by turning in his DM mercy token, was able to heal Scarlet's arm and reattach it. During this time, Wiswick had found a shrine beneath the temple that represented some connector between Maius and this plane of existence that allowed his form to go beyond the Shadowfell. It deactivated, but Curon, with a theory in his mind, kept the beating heart that was at the center of this contraption beating no more. You all helped each other up, rejoined your companions above, alerting them that the torturous plague of Maius was over, and Summerlinden was free. Slowly but surely you returned to Carvius Flagon to get some much-needed rest. As you're inside, Timber, still rushing with adrenaline from the fight and the pure excitement of Curon's miraculous return, paced outside. A small tree began to form into a doorway as green light emanated from it, and he saw a familiar face pass through. Elspeth, the forest gnome. But the usual dirty but adorable cheeks were coated in blood this time. She brought a warning of a man in a mask with a hideously scarred face that was coming for Scarlet. Timber brought the near unconscious Elspeth into the tavern to provide her with some food and drink and to hear what had happened. And this is where we left off. So,
hi. How are you?
So,
how's it been going?
Terrible. No.
My forest is on fire. Sorry.
Just for reference of where everybody is at this point, since you are all beat the hell up. Scarlet, you are sleeping. Just that seems confirmed. They had to carry you back. You were so tired. Curon, although mostly rejuvenated, you are still exhausted from the lack of sleep. So you would not be as tired as Scarlet's. You could be awake a little, but I'd imagine you came inside and immediately found rest.
Yeah.
Cal, you are more so exhausted by the beating you took. Where would Cal be at this point?
Yeah, Cal would sound asleep.
Wiswick, where would you?
Cal needs a long rest or he's not going to make it.
Yeah.
Wiswick would be trying to. I think he would probably be wherever Huron is. If he's tired and wants to be left alone, he would probably be like impatiently, like standing guard in front of his door, because he's got questions that need to be answered.
Yeah, I imagine you were following Kieran the entire way back from the crypt and like asking him questions, but Kieran, like the second you stepped out of the crypt, that like all the weight of your time spent in the Shadowfell demi-plane fell upon your shoulders. The years that you aged. And for the audience's reference, Kieran's ears drooped more. The sort of smooth face now marred with some wrinkles, as he seems to have been aged by several centuries in regards to his time in the demi-plane. I believe in reference we said that believe in reference in elven years, in human years, he's roughly around 70 now.
Yeah.
At least
Well,
as
like a
far
good
as
70. Like,
a good, yeah.
His skin, his complexion,
he's
he's
a
got
70-year-old with
complexion.
good constitution.
Yeah. Well, his constitution's so-so.
Okay.
He's like a Hollywood actor. He just doesn't age.
Yeah, it's the light of Illyvania.
It's all the stem cells.
Oh, that's it. Anyway, so you notice Kieran, but you would have noticed Kieran's exhaustion and sort of left him be. But I imagine you are either in the same room, kind of just staring at him and staring at the door and writing notes, or sitting gently outside waiting for him to arise.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be like latched onto him like a hawk, but like
Okay.
I feel like I would give him his time, but like still being impatient, just like tapping, like messing with magics, just like writing down like theories about what could have happened, and just being Wiswick, I guess.
Okay. And makes perfect sense. For reference for everyone, it's about late afternoon, early evening at this point. Sort of approaching that late dinner time. Inside the, as soon as you came in, Jack would have escorted you back here, but he would have very quickly left you, and him and Prim would have wandered off at a certain point, perhaps to have a longer conversation about certain revelations. But inside the tavern would really just be Carvia and Robert, of course, and Embla.
What about Ulf? Where's Ulf at?
Ulf was probably pretty
He's got his
eager to
own
get
house.
back to his shrine. Yeah, Ulf is not there.
Okay.
All right, so Timber, you are escorting Elspeth inside, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So she is having difficulty walking as you sort of slowly bring her inside. As she's brought
help her,
inside, you
obviously,
see.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you bring her inside, you see Robert kind of is lounging there, but he immediately kind of pops up and like looks to you to like he doesn't know what to say. He's just looking at you like, oh.
Robert, get stack some chairs next to each other,
Yeah, or
clear off the table.
Yeah. I know. I've done this before. I got it. And you see, he immediately goes over and just like arm swipes a bunch of flagons off of the bar top. Who Carvia kind of sits up from the bag and says, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing in there?" it's an emergency. It's an emergency.
Could Carvia get me bandages?
As he walks over and helps you lift Elspeth onto the bar and kind of help her rest there. You notice like she's suffered some significant wounds, some bludgeoning wounds, some bruising. There's some blood trickling down from her mouth. She has some burn marks on her back, like her clothes on her back are burnt up, and you can see some burns on her back. And she's just sort of wincing in pain. We had to tell you. We had to find you.
Here, don't speak right now. And Timber's gonna reach in his bag. He's not gonna petrify her, don't worry.
His new thing, every time someone's injured, just petrify them.
I should not have, I don't think I have it. No, I do not have any more potion of healings. Never mind. I'm going to attempt to actually make a potion of healing and feed it to her.
And while you're doing that,
yeah.
You notice Robert immediately pulling out his bag and starts to go through whatever he has left of his healing kits that he had when you first met him.
Oh, good, Robert. Oh, Robert, that's good. Rip off her shirt right there and wrap that up, and that'll be good.
As you start to set up your Gwyn burner and begin to brew a healing potion.
I need to roll.
You have the materials for that?
I do. It's going to be a basic one.
I don't know if Wiswick's still resting or if he would have heard the commotion.
Wiswick, you definitely would have heard the commotion downstairs and would be able to come down.
That's a dirty 20 for me.
Okay,
But that'll be
you
good.
definitely got yourself.
Yeah.
All right, so it's going to take you a little while, though. It's not a perfect right away sort of thing.
Right.
It's going to take you at least a half hour to brew that. As you're doing that, you see Robert is properly taking out different herbs. He actually has bandages because he has the healer feat, because it's what he did before he met you.
Yay.
It's the only thing he really did. So he is able to restore her for a bit of health. She's still rough and not necessarily entirely there to talk, but he stabilizes her and begins to do what he can to treat the burns on her back mostly, because the rest of it is more bludgeoning damage, but this part is the real dangerous part right now. So he's trying to, he's doing what he can to stabilize the burns so that they don't cause her too much pain.
Carvia, do you get the alcohol?
You see she sort of opens up the curtains of the back and looks and you all are never allowed back here again. As she
You're
hands
being
you a
paid
bottle
well.
of-
We haven't paid her at all yet.
We haven't.
You guys have been slowly leaving a weird pile of coins on the bar that Robert just scattered across the floor. But she does hand you a bottle of whiskey.
Thank you. Timber,
Yeah, Wiswick helps with the healing process, whatever he can do, just to support her. Maybe if it's just holding her hand, or actually like putting a bone into place, or whatever needs to be done, wrapping something up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think collectively, all of you together with the healing potion are able to bring her into a more stable place, make some of her pain eased. She is, she's slipping in and out of consciousness just because of the amount of pain it was and the amount of energy she expended to get here, essentially. And as you're kind of bringing her back to a stable place, you see she just sort of her eyes are drooping and her breathing has become more stable as she's just... He's coming. He's coming for her.
okay. Just stay there. just rest.
What was it like?
Vizik, not now.
Did he?
Vizik, don't ask questions right now. She needs sleep. She can barely think.
Does she have the vial of Faerun water that she carried along with her in the past?
Yes. Yes, she does. It is empty, though.
I take out one of the 3 that I've been hoarding, and
That's right.
yeah, you forgot about those?
I did forget about those.
I've been saving them for a rainy day. I hand one to her. Well, I don't really hand it to her. As she's resting, I refill the jar or whatever that was hanging from, I believe it was like a staff. Like she had
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
that
Yeah.
is correct, yeah.
So yeah, I just refill her little staff liquid thingy, and I take my bottle and tuck it away someplace safe. Like when she's maybe when she's not even looking, I do it.
Yeah, I mean, she very quickly sort of starts to, the overwhelming nature of her wounds and then kind of the immediate soothing of those wounds has sort of lulled her into a near sleep at this point. And her staff is just sort of, sort of fell to the side as she was carried in here and brought in, so you can very easily refill her font with the, because she is a follower of the font mother, so you could very easily refill her font with the Fey liquids. But as she's slowly sort of slipping into a near unconscious state, the bar is quite quiet now. As you're all looking to each other, your companions upstairs are knocked out with exhaustion. It is approaching 6 o'clock at this point, as you've sort of spent more time than you thought tending to Elspeth's injuries.
Yeah, I think if it was gonna go for a long time, I probably would have got her off the bar stand.
Yeah.
I would have used telekinesis or something to lift her carefully and bring her upstairs to a bed or something. Oh, by the way, I took telekinesis when I leveled up, guys.
You can very easily do that. There is one bed still open, so you could definitely bring her in and place her there to rest more comfortably until the morning, when perhaps everyone will be in better shape to have a discussion.
I leave her a note that says, "Come down when you're feeling better." Wiswick.
Oh, excellent.
Timber drinks the whiskey from.
The whiskey was
Never
not
for her.
anyone but for Timber.
It was for us, yeah.
So Wiswick and Timber, you both go back downstairs, and
Timber's
Share
gonna
a few
fall
drinks.
asleep at the bar. Probably.
Yeah, I think Wiswick's intending to drink, but he remembers last night and how that was not a great idea going into a fight. And he's looking at all his wounds and he's like, "All right, this isn't happening."
yeah, Wiswick, Timber pours you the first drink, and you take a sip of it, and you're like, "Oof." You're like, I remember this. And maybe you finish that one drink, but when Timber goes to pour you another, you're like,
Mhm.
so what are you doing now?
Oh, heads on the table. Timber had a rough day. I mean, everybody did.
as the adrenaline is now drained from you, Timber, and you feel the whiskey replacing it. And Wiswick is sort of slowly nursing his whiskey as you've finished one, maybe two, maybe three by this point. It's just the thought of the darkness of what you all just faced and the death, the imminent death that was present, as you saw Scarlet maimed, you saw Cal nearly fall to his feet unconscious, you saw terrible things, but then, of course, Kieran returned to you. What do you do?
Wiswick looks to Timber as he's now down a couple of drinks and kind of just gives him a smile, but like he tries to play it off like he's happy and like joyful as he usually is, but you could tell from his voice that he's like hiding something. And he looks over to Timber and says,
We sure made it out of that one, huh? You did good. That little trade-off in the middle of the fight really turned out well. I'm glad everybody's safe.
Once again, we are lucky to be alive. For this random town that we had this... Timber's looking at his whiskey glass the whole time. I'm not even making eye contact with Wiswick. This scary maze with this plant zombie that was made by a necromancer, and to facing this smoke demon, to... I know this all makes sense to you, but it's a lot of magic, and I only know one school of magic that is related to my deity. But why we are wasting our lives, or risking our lives for such random tasks, I don't know. I don't care anymore, to be honest, but...
I think you've got to look at it from a different way, Timber. I mean, you're always worried about your how you risk your life to save these people and all the things. But
just
think
my
about
life.
all the good it's done for you too. I mean, sure, we're constantly in battle and getting hurt and stuff like that, but how much have you grown since you've met us? We've done so many good things. We've made a name for ourselves, and I know that I've learned things about my magic that I could have never dreamed I could reach these heights when I first left the Underdark. You must be feeling the same way, even just a little bit.
No. Wiswick, I lost my wife like 2 weeks ago. She blew up. And he just downs the rest of his drink. I don't feel like I've gained much at all. I feel like I've lost more.
All the more reason, I think. If you lost so much, then you can't just gain it back by sitting here drinking yourself into a stupor. We've got to keep adventuring and get stronger, and then maybe we could do something about all these unfortunate circumstances that are going around.
Adventuring. Well, this whiskey at least shuts the beast up, that's for sure. It doesn't like alcohol. At least I don't think so.
I think Wiswick
I'm gonna make that
smiles
up.
at
It's kind of, I mean, it's kind of consistent. Ever since Timber's been in this like perpetual semi-drunken state, the voice has been quieter.
Wiswick just smiles and pulls out his whiskey bottle, his endless whiskey bottle. He's like, "Well, if you ever want to kill the beast, I've got the remedy right here." And I put it on the table for him.
Well, thank you, Wiswick. I do need to confront it at some point, but when I'm ready. Timber's just gonna keep staring at his drink. Or pour himself a new one, I should say.
Wiswick leaves him alone after a while, just lets him wallow, and goes back to studying his book. Maybe if he's still got some telekinesis left, he'll clean up some of the mess around with, like, passively, not even, like, looking, like, just having it clean itself in the background.
Sure. As you do that, you start to, work on your notes as the telekinetic powers clean up the room. Timber, you kind of see, bottles and flagons moving around you and being replaced on the shelves. As you're sort of staring into your cup, fishing for the bottom of it, you see the curtains of that back chamber open up as Carvia kind of stumbles out a little bit. And you see she just sort of looks at you. She's not drunk right now. She's just in sort of a stupor herself. But she sort of leans forward, pulls a glass off of her shelves that literally just was placed there by Wiswick, pulls it off. Or no, really, she catches it in midair before it is placed into the shelf and pulls it over. And you see she looks at the endless Wiswick's endless flask, and she just points at it, looks at you, kind of like, "Is this yours?"
I just look up from my book and just say, "Yeah."
So she unscrews it and pours herself a glass of it into her cup.
Could I telepathically pull it away from her as she reaches for it?
If you want. Yeah. So you pull it out of her hands as she's going to pour it out, as it just sort of pours onto the bar a little bit as you pull it away. And she just gives you a grimace and then grabs the bottle out of Timber's hands to pour herself a drink of her own. And she sort of holds it up and just looks at you, Timber, just sort of with a very half-hearted cheer.
So, Carvia, what's your purpose? Why do you keep putting one foot in front of the other?
Well, isn't that the question? Well, it's certainly not for this tavern. Or this town. What about you? I overheard you telling the gnome there that you'd rather just be in a stupor than adventuring.
I don't know what I want just yet.
Why, we only live to serve. Try the
Shut
great
up,
stuff,
Wiswick.
it's delicious. Don't believe me? Ask the dishes. And I make the dishes dance.
Appreciate it, little man.
Boo.
But I'm trying to have a conversation with your friend.
I got one winner in the corner over there.
You don't know.
No, I do not. I lost my purpose. And I've been given options for new ones, but I don't know if I want them.
Well, one could say I lost my purpose too earlier in my life. You can go on drinking yourself into a stupor every day of your life for the rest of time until it kills you. You could do that if you want. I'm about halfway there. I'd rather not, though. I've got a lot of good people around me. Jack. Trying to make those choices too.
Cheers.
To bettering ourselves.
Maybe tomorrow.
There's always tomorrow until there isn't. Cheers. And she takes her drink and kind of walks past and finds her place by the fire. Pulls out a book. So, the night goes on. Timber, you and Carvia essentially quietly drink together, socially distanced.
Yeah.
While Wiswick continues to clean up the bar and continue his studies. But eventually, you all would find your own path to sleep, whether it is falling unconscious by the bar, going upstairs and curling up either on the floor or next to Kieran or Scarlet or Cal or Robert.
Or Elspeth.
Or Elspeth. Slowly but surely, morning comes. Kieran, Scarlet, and Cal, you all awake. Not as early as you normally would if you weren't as exhausted, but still early. It's probably around approaching 9 a.m. when you each sort of come awake. Timber, you are downstairs, unconscious at the bar. Wiswick, you are awakening relatively close to this time as well. What would you all like to do? Kieran.
A question. Does Kieran get up a little earlier because he trances for 4 hours?
I would say a little bit early, yes. Yes.
Cool.
Someone
You
wants
get
to
up.
commune.
Someone learns a new spell.
Oh.
All right, he's been waiting for
Wiswick,
this
interrupt
since
this.
the beginning.
Whatever this is.
No, because he'd be awake much earlier than you.
All right, so Kieran, wakey, eggs and bacon.
What are you doing? Say the fucking line up.
No, okay. My
Joking.
apologies.
I was joking. I'm sorry. God.
Uh,
Anything to stop
yeah.
you from doing this.
So Kieran wakes up and he's all like, "Oh, I had weird dreams last night about all my friends dying. I wonder what that's happening." And then he's like, "Well, now that I'm 9th level and no 5th level spells, these are thoughts. These are the exact thoughts of Kieran. He's learned to commune with his holy goddess Iluvania. Dead or not, hopefully we'll see." So he prepares, to the best of his knowledge, this ritual casting circle for casting commune, 5th level spell, so he can talk to his goddess Iluvania.
Okay.
And he's gonna ask. I get 3 questions.
Mm-hmm.
Question the first. Kieran, in his meditative praying state, goes, "O blessed Crescent Heart, watcher of the twilight, protector of the Elysian people, am I on the right path?" Do you want me to do all 3 or?
No, we can do them one at a time.
Okay.
All right. So you ask this question out into the ether, tapping into the connection you know to have with Iluvania. The moonstone is out. Your reliquary was not repaired in this
Yes,
process.
I had meant to say that Kieran will now carry his holy rock just in the open until he decides how to fashion something better for it.
Okay. Excellent. So the moonstone is resting there and sort of beats with that patina of light sort of beats now as you're communing through it, really. With the question, am I on the right path?
Yes.
You feel a resounding sense of purpose overwhelm you, as it feels as though you've had a shrouding quilt put over your shoulders to comfort you. And it particularly feels like it's easing your wounds in this moment. The message almost feeling like, though it is difficult, yes, you are on the right path.
After embracing this feeling and letting it wash through him and over him, he asks his next question. Are you, O Crescent Heart, safe?
The feeling of the shroud dissipates quickly. There's this feeling of bone-chilling cold as you get a sense of no, but a confused no. As if your deity is uncertain.
And his final question: is Ayla a true servant of yours?
You feel goosebumps across your skin. As you feel a sense of stimulation and a surety of, and when I say a surety, not a yes answer, but you feel a sense of vindication as there is a resounding no. That sweeps through your essence, and you at this question, the moonstone itself sort of beats and floats up before you, as you can feel probably the clearest connection you've ever felt to Ilyvania.
And as, without any further questions, but before the connection of the commune ends, Kieran will say a little ending. Oh, beloved Ilyvania, I hope that I am able to assist you where you need, and know that I will forever be your faithful servant.
Ron,
Commune over.
roll me a D100.
Oh. 50.
50? Okay.
Yeah.
Die. Okay. As you complete this ritual and you feel this beautiful moment of connection, you've never felt more secure in your goal, in your calling. You feel something creeping up your spine as that feeling is quickly severed for a moment. In a jarring, almost as if someone had just scratched nails across a hard surface, or you were just shocked by something that you weren't expecting. A jump scare, if you will.
Yeah.
As your eyes narrow, your pupils narrow, and the entire world moves quickly around you as fast as lightning, as everything blurs around you, just your visuals. And then suddenly you are brought back to your time in the demi-plane, in a flashback almost, where you feel all that joy and connection with Ilyvania emptied out of you as you fall to your knees in a desolate wasteland. The yellow clouds above, the great ash tree of the Ashbringer, and you hear it cracking. And it is so large that the cracks in the bough of this tree sound like thunder echoing through the graying Feywild. As you can see, let's get less nice music as you're watching this, but you see the cracks ripping through the ash tree. You hear great branches falling and soaring through the air and crashing into the earth, kicking up dust all around, as you can hear the formation of soldiers coming together of all sorts, marching up towards the hill you are on. As you feel this rushing wind move past you, as the noxious air of the rotting Feywild moves through you. you kind of drop to the ground, your knees sinking into the rotting soil, as bursting up through the ash tree, ripping through its core. You see the great Wyrm, the pallid worm that slithers out and peers its head out as you hear this empty, void, vacuous roar erupt over the graying Feywild. As you see these horrifying extended limbs come out of the worm and grab at the husk of the tree and lift itself up, as you see this army marching forward, led by captains bearing pallid masks, several of them, as they all march towards you and past you. You turn around and look to where they go as you see this crack in the Feywild. As you see this pallid worm lifts itself out of the tree and pushes itself up into the sky, and you can see its long, writhing, twisting form enter into the pallid clouds above, as the snake-like form splits into hundreds and thousands of tentacles that is its tail and mass. It looks more like a writhing root and just a amalgam of worms all together into one creature that flails behind its form as it pushes out, almost flying through the force of these limbs, as it drags itself almost through the air, as if it could climb air and space like the side of a mountain, as it almost claws its way down from the clouds and pushes itself forward, and you see it fly over this army and then crash into the crack in the rotting Feywild, and you see it just shatter open as the entire worm wriggles its way out of the rotting mess and into whatever world lays beyond. As you watch this army slowly march towards that crack, you see like shards fall off of it and dissipate as it slowly spreads out and opens up and continues to spread and push deeper, creating less and less of a divide between these two planes of existence. As you sit there on your knees, the army passing you by, devoid of all light, the shards of this realm fall from the sky as it is being melded with whatever plane this pallid king has pushed his way through to. And in that moment, it all comes back together. You hear the moonstone drop to the ground in front of you. This is all quiet, and it seems as though just a blink of an eye has passed.
Did I get a good look at that other plane? Like, could I identify it?
Give me a perception check. Just give me a perception check. I forgot that you own the world of perception.
I rule the world. It's gonna be a 29.
Hell yeah. It's the material plane.
Ah!
But this is just a vision.
Right, yeah, I was gonna say, Kieran stares at his moonstone and he goes, a vision of the future, maybe. One I hope that we will never see. Puts away his moon rock, and then he's going to grab a journal of some kind that he probably has and start recording all the things that he learned and whatnot during his time in Mias's clutches.
Absolutely. While you're doing that, the rest of the party begins to awaken. Save Timber. What would y'all like to do? It's around 9 a.m. at this point.
Cal's gonna get up and he's gonna look at the ruins of his cape, which I believe was completely and utterly shredded.
Yeah, most
And-
of it was sucked into that portal.
Yeah. Shall remind me, keep my hat, or is that gone too?
Your hat is gone as well.
Fuck me. So
your
he
hat,
kinda
your hat
investigated-
and most of your cloak, cape were sucked into the demi-plane.
Alright. All right, so he investigates the ruins of his cape and just kind of sighs and unclasps it from his coat where it was like affixed, and he just took the whole thing off. And I just rip it up in the bandages. I'm making bandages out of it because it's useful, and I roll those up and I put them in my bag, and I go downstairs.
Okay.
You know what? No, I'll do some light calisthenics first. Not my entire morning routine.
Like your first round, you kind of like went your full normal, and you're like, I can't do it that much. So I gotta pull it back a little.
Exactly.
Scarlet.
When she wakes up, she's gonna like try and do the flame meditation. I don't know how successful it would be, but she's gonna try. And then she'll wrap herself in a blanket and she'll walk downstairs.
QQ, what's her reaction to having an arm? Because as I recall,
It's
she wasn't awake for that.
Yeah, Scarlet, you
That's
feel
right.
it's a very, give me an insight check actually. Give me 2 insight checks actually.
okay.
Give me a third.
One is for your meditation and one is for your arm.
Okay, the first one is 21.
I'll say that's for your arm since you would have noticed that right when you woke up.
Cool. And the next one is 16.
When you wake up, you are in an utter panic, and you grasp for your arm, and you sort of like, for a moment, thinking like it was a dream. It was a dream. Like all of that was a dream. Like in your exhausted state, you're like nothing happened. It's just
Right.
the next day. And then you start to notice that your entire sleeve is gone from your arm, and that there is a very clear, horrendous scar where it was reattached, and you feel throbbing pain. I'm just
Doing great.
messing my
You're doing
words
great.
up
Keep going.
tonight.
Keep going.
Throbbing pain in your arm, and just a weird disassociative sense of it, where it doesn't feel like it should be there, and like even like when you tense and squeeze your fist, you almost feel like you're not doing it.
Huh.
And there's just this feeling you need to shake off. As it's sort of tough, you even find like at some points it's tough to completely close your fist, as there seems to be this aftermath effect of like the neurons in the muscles need to reacquaint themselves.
Sure.
Phantom pain.
But slowly but surely you realize this wasn't a dream. There's a sense of dread that sinks into your stomach as you think about everything you went through. The fact that you went unconscious, woke up with no arm, fell back asleep, woke up with your arm. That you saw in a delusional state Curon returning in a beam of light, old but stern, somewhat darker, and then falling asleep next to Cal as he comforted you. As you awake to the warm breeze in the room. Because sometime in the night, Carvia took the nails out of all the windows.
Okay.
16, you feeling this somewhat sense of uncomfortable comfort. You attempt to engage in Timber's meditations, and for the life of you, there's something about this meditation that's missing. This flame meant something to you at one time. And what you meditated on first, the first time you received this, there was something else there. But now there's just a void behind the flame. We don't know why.
Shannon knows why.
As the
Why?
memory of your mother have not returned.
Damn it!
God! Spoiler alert!
Ugh. All right. So she'll try for a little bit, and then she'll just get frustrated, and with the pain in her arm, just she can't sit still anymore. So she's going to stand up and get a blanket, and just to like kind of keep reality around her, to keep as much as she can. She'll go downstairs to see who's up.
Okay. Wiswick, you would awaken a little bit after them. So I'd say Cal and Scarlet and Curon, you would have some time together, and then Wiswick would join about half hour into that conversation. Curon, I'd say you'd be the first one downstairs, and you would notice Timber unconscious with an empty bottle of whiskey next to him.
Kieran scoffs a little and says something like, he still hasn't learned, has he? As if time has passed, but it hasn't. He's going to pick up the whiskey bottle, put it in recycling, if they do that, and then get him a glass of water and put it in the same spot, as Kieran will sit across from him and continue to write.
Okay. Cal, you would come down next, and you would discover in the morning light exactly that scene.
I put my backpack down near the bar. I have everything. I'm like ready to go.
Yeah.
Q.
Cal, how are you this morning?
I'm sore, but I'm well, thank you. I'm glad that we've I don't know, I feel actually relatively good today, to be honest with you.
That's good to hear.
Well, we got you back. We dealt with the problems in this town. Seems like we may have almost gotten some answers. What was that?
I think Timber is,
You see Timber.
goes to check if he's choking on his tongue or on it.
You see Timber's like, go ahead.
Ready to go? Where are we go? Oh, right. Sorry.
Oh,
Good
how are you
morning.
feeling today?
Uh,
I say.
Uh,
I would have expected you to sleep for another while.
yes, but you were loud.
Well, that's what you get for sleeping in the common room.
There's
yes,
some water
I know.
right there.
That's my own fault. Thank you. We have
I
another.
look around for Carvia. I assume she's asleep.
Yep. She's asleep
Okay.
by the fire. Where?
Oh, she's like right over there? Okay.
We have another problem.
Oh,
What?
Well, not really. We knew about this possible being a problem, but Elspeth came to us via
Elspeth, where is she?
tree teleportation. I don't know. I've never heard of it before, but I saw a tree open up, and she walked through, and she,
Scarlet, you would come down at this point.
she's I bandaged her up, but she was all bloody and barely conscious.
Oh,
What has happened?
She said that Thatcher. It sounded like Thatcher and his men got to her. I couldn't ask too many questions. She was barely conscious.
in the forest.
Elspeth,
Correct.
I say to Scarlet.
Yes, the land of the Fae, the household or tree that they were staying in.
I think it was Elspeth's home for
Oh.
imaginary fae.
Yes,
Wayward Fae.
The
The hunt
Wayward
for the
Fae.
Wayward Fae.
That one.
Same thing.
Well, they're not imaginary. They're
Anyway.
real.
Honestly, literally since I've left, none of this could have happened, and that would make perfect sense to me.
This is all. a
Timber,
dream
what
camp.
happened?
Thatcher killed all of her friends. Sorry.
All of them?
Not all of them. Termniarm seemed to have escaped. I didn't get much information from her.
I knew I should have killed that fuck.
Anyway, We should get that of here.
Giving him a long stare. I'm not
Did
quite
she say
sure how to
why?
respond to that.
She said they want her.
You broke up there.
Yeah.
They Timber like chokes a little bit. It's like they
I point to his water.
thank you. um, they want us. He wants her.
So they followed us all the way into the forest.
And they did that because we ran away.
We don't know
That's terrible.
enough. Is Wiswick up? Scarlet, can you take off your the cloak and the dagger that you have that belong to Caleb? Can we identify those?
Who?
How would Thatcher have
Caleb.
tracked it?
The cloak and dagger you're wearing.
I don't know Caleb, but all right. She'll.
Cal
Actually-
looks at the group like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude, yeah,
Kieran.
yeah. Like everybody looks around. What do you mean?
maybe we're getting his name wrong. The guy,
no, it was
the severed
Caleb.
headman.
Yes, remember you stabbed me to save him.
We
Scarlet,
assume he was your
Your
partner.
your
right?
partner.
Right?
you would remember Timber attacking someone
Mm-hmm.
in your tent,
Mm-hmm.
and there being some kind of fight that happened there, but that person is just a shadowy figure.
Mm-hmm.
Like any memories that have happened with the party that they could reference.
Yep.
He is just some shadowy figure that you're like, oh, I didn't know that person.
Mm-hmm.
You interrogated someone while I was captured. I don't know who that was.
Mhm.
That's that sort of feeling. Just a void there.
Cool.
He was your old partner, right? You gave yourself up to Thatcher to pull him out in Oranshire.
No, I gave him up so he would let Wiswick go. I gave myself up so Wiswick could go.
Yeah, that was part of it, but no, Caleb too.
Don't know who you're
I
talking
d-
about.
You've invested quite a lot of time into this Caleb character. How could you have...
Forgotten
Wait.
about him. Kieran, can you check her head?
Kieran thinks...
How hard did you get
Would
hit
Kieran-
yesterday?
Would Kieran be able to put 2 and 2 together, or do you want me to do like an insight check or something?
Give me an insight check.
Okay.
How hard? So Cal first would go. How hard did you get hit yesterday? And start like looking at her pupils, because while I'm not trained in medicine, like I at least can be like,
Yeah, and I'll just like,
do you have a concussion?
I'm fine.
24.
Who's the king of the Quintarchy?
Oh, I know that one. Tiny.
24. Curon, I will say because of your extended time in Myas's hive mind and collective, you would understand, and even during your time being able to meditate through the pain of your torture under Myas, thinking about your experience, thinking about what happened that night when Scarlet and you were unable to sleep, which feels so far away, so long ago, that for a moment as you're talking to Scarlet, it comes to you like a distant memory as opposed to a quick insight. It's sort of like, oh, perhaps. And you understand that Myas took something from Scarlet that was not returned upon his death.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Well, I'm just thinking, during my time communing with mice, if you will, I've learned about the hive mind mentality that he has, and one of the things he likes to do is consumes the souls of others and those that he infects, such as you, myself, the villagers. And sometimes I believe he takes from those he's infected that which cannot be given back. I believe he's taken your memories, along with the memories of all the villagers here. entire
Fuck me.
people, areas, times of their lives gone, never to return. Thinking about it, that last night, wow, it feels strange to say. Right before when the clock struck 2 and you felt drawn to the door, I remember seeing my hometown, the temple where I lived for so long. He may have been trying to take that memory from me.
You'll see Scarlet just furrows her brow and just is trying to remember what she saw at that night, last night. Wow.
Last night.
She said.
When you try to
Oh,
remember,
baby, don't.
your memory almost diverts. Your brain is creating memories right now to fill the void of these memories. The memory of your mother is just you and Reese running through a field, playing together. Your memories of Caleb are colder now, where you're alone that night in the abandoned warehouse. And that's what you think you remember. And it's so hard. Like, this is not like suddenly you're freaking out and you remember these things. It just seems impossible to you. Your entire history has been rewritten.
I mean, I remember my brother and I remember being alone, but I don't remember losing anything. I don't think I've lost anything.
Your father?
I remember him, yes.
Your mother?
I don't think I had a mother.
In your mind, she would have never been in your life. If you had a mother, but she was either dead before you even could meet her, or left before you could even meet her.
From his seat, Kieran kind of taps Cal and goes, "Did Scarlet ever tell us about a mother?"
I told
don't-
somebody that she taught me calligraphy. I don't know if
Yes.
that was everybody.
You told Wiswick. I
Yeah.
don't think you told the rest of us. I
The
don't
question-
know. Is the answer to I don't know. I look, to be honest, I barely know anything about her or Wiswick. They're both very scary.
Upstairs, Wiswick, you would start to wake up at this point.
I don't rush, and I start casting. I start prepping my spells for the morning.
I figured.
Kieran will continue the line of questioning, being like, "And the town you grew up in, do you remember that?"
Sindamaya? I'm telling you, I'm not forgetting anything.
The
Well-
Crimson Court. What do you know about them?
Far too much. Wish I didn't remember that.
For the moment when you, with Caleb in the Crimson Court, it's just another accolade.
Well, it seems that you've at least lost memory of Caleb.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Right.
There's a man. There's a man named Caleb. You're wearing his cloak, and that's, I think, his knife.
This is a
And-
Crimson Court cloak.
Yes, he
mine.
was.
Yes, but
he
it was
a-
his.
It's mine.
It was not.
No.
Can we
No.
have it
Mine.
real quick? Could lay it on the table.
What do you want? What do you want it for?
We need Wizard to look at it to make sure we're not being tracked.
Well,
That
it's
actually is a contemporary problem. If Thatcher was able to follow us into the woods, that's not an easy. Like, it's not like you just follow our tracks for 2 weeks into the woods, you know?
fine. She'll take it off and kind of slam him on the table.
Yeah, that your cloak and blade in your mind when you retrieved them from Thatcher's hideout is because they were yours and you always had them. And
Mhm.
because at the end of the day, the thing that's important to note is your brain and your mind is replacing memories and recovering and creating barriers to prevent the existential trauma that you would feel by
Mhm.
understanding that there are holes in your memory.
Right.
So you're just creating new ones very quickly and haberdashed.
Anyway, Caleb still works for the Crimson Court, so it would be in Thatcher's best interest for him to track Caleb when Caleb would try to take his stuff back. If that was Thatcher's plan all along, which,
Did we
if he's a
fight with
brilliant
someone?
mastermind,
What was that, Chan?
Why do you keep saying that name?
just accept it. There's a man named Caleb, and this was his, and you loved him, and just like,
No, I didn't.
sure.
Wait, loved him?
She stabbed me.
No.
Why else
No.
would you do something crazy
Oh.
like
I think
that?
we were told.
No, I didn't. There was somebody in the tent that night, and I
you
must have
stabbed
missed.
me.
I must have missed. It was dark. I don't know what to tell you.
Anyway, did anybody see if Wizik was up?
I'll go check. I say, and go to check.
Yeah, you go upstairs
Okay,
and knock
thank
on
you.
Wizbeck's door. Yeah. Wizbeck,
Almost
you're in the-
done.
Wizwick, we need you downstairs. We need to figure something out quickly.
I'm in the middle of something. Just a few more minutes.
Fine. And I go back downstairs.
Okay.
Yeah, he's up, but he's Wiswick.
Ah, yes.
Okay.
Well, if you're worried about the court finding us, it's not these that are going to do it. It's going to be the scar on my finger.
We're not what?
I
Anyway,
told you.
we're not worried
No,
about
no,
this.
not anyway. What?
I told you about that.
We've known about the scar.
You know about those. I don't know if you know about the ones out here, but you know about my ring scar.
Okay.
Okay.
But you don't know about my collar. collarbone.
Anyway, Thatcher is the #1
You don't
threat.
see your collarbone a little.
Well, actually, I believe the Pallid King is still the #1 threat.
Okay.
But
This.
He's the more immediate threat.
Well, if
Thank you,
Thatcher's coming
Scarlet.
after us, he's definitely the more immediate threat.
Thank
How
you.
far away is that forest?
What, it took us 2
About-
weeks to get here?
Took
Week
you,
and a half?
it took you, yeah, a little less. Probably, I'd say maybe eight-ish days to get here from the forest edge.
yeah,
When you crossed the river to here, it took you about 8 days or so.
Right, and we have been in this place for 2 nights. Is that correct?
yes.
Yes.
So
I
we're
would know how
going
many
to go.
nights.
Yeah, you didn't lose it. Granted, you have been drunk the entire time.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, audience
But-
members, we are bringing up a lot of old information. A lot of us do not have notes in front of us.
Yeah.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, we don't have notes from 40 episodes ago.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't
So
find
we're
you.
we're going to go stop him, right? 'Cause
No.
We can't,
We are
we
running
can't
away.
let that keep happening. No. The more that we run away, the more he's just going to destroy everything.
So,
Good luck.
um,
I'm not going there. We are going to seek more help first, then we can deal with
So
him.
you're fine with him leaving a trail of desolation in his wake while he's trying to catch up with us.
Well, really, the next location for him to come would be here, and I don't know if Thatcher's going to attack somewhere so close to the capital of Oxland.
Will we just give false leads? We'll say that we're going to Orangeshire and going to deal with him. Maybe then he'll...
we know the numbers he has, and I don't think the 5 of us are up to that.
We are not capable of taking on an army.
And neither are the people who are going to get in his way.
I don't. He's like Timber said. He's not going to burn down a. We need to
You
speak with
don't
Elsbeth
know
first.
that.
We need to speak
You
with
don't know
Elsbeth.
that.
Let's think. So yes, he's a bit bent on vengeance or whatever it is, but he's still a man of business, right? At the end of the day, he built an empire, didn't he? You know, you can't go
don't
around
know.
just.
I don't know.
Five.
I don't know who this person is.
Also, we really should shut up.
All right, I talked to him the most, or second most, I think.
We
And it
should-
wasn't about personal things.
Also, we should kind of be quiet around this cloak and this dagger.
You don't think he could listen to us?
Scarlet, you do know who Thatcher is.
Yeah. No, that was like a. I don't know who this person is because he's not my brother. That wasn't like I don't remember him.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Wizard needs to. What is he doing? Is he like looking at magazines? Or...
We need to talk to Elsbeth first before we
Did
decide
he reach?
anything. Either way,
did
I
he
think
reach
we need-
puberty?
What?
Oh,
Is he-
he's preparing his spell. Do
Is
you
that
know how
is
he
that a
has
euphemism?
that-
I don't know.
No.
Since when do
He's
you
always-
use words like euphemism?
What?
He's still drunk.
My point is, we need to draw. If we're going to confront Thatcher, we need to draw him out of any place where he has any kind of sway. We're close enough to the Civian border here, I think, for him to still have the ability to get people here and resources and contacts. If we put him in an area where he doesn't have the power, we could much more easily and handily handle him.
Handle him. Yes.
I knew what you were trying to say, Cal.
No, that was correct.
That was correct.
I'm ready. What do we miss?
Jesus Christ, Tim.
There he is.
Wiswick, please, can you identify to see if there are anything besides the fact that these are magical equipment, to see if there's any sort of scrying rooms or anything that could be tracking us?
Timber, I tried this weeks ago. Also, scrying wouldn't come up as residual magic on an object, I don't believe.
Not according to Reyna's notes.
Also, Timber, I think you're forgetting that he knows me very well. So he wouldn't need to scry on the dagger or the cloak. Even if
Well-
he could.
Well,
Cal,
I mean,
Cal
we
is
do
cooking
have
breakfast
one.
now
We're
and
talking
grumbling
about.
about fucking magic.
We're talking about the guy who's chasing us, right? What was his name again?
Thatcher.
You know what his fucking name was?
Oh, right. Well, anyway, like, we do have one trump card there, you know, because of this.
And I wave my hand, and like you could see that like my skin is glittering in a sort of magical fashion. And I say,
You Edward Cullen?
Yeah,
This whole time.
dude. I cast non-detection on myself every day. It's a Snifneblin trait. So if he is scrying on Scarlet, he can't see me, and I don't think he's seen my face. So there's a good chance that I can maybe get some information. I could be a spy for you guys. Let you know if he's coming. Maybe I should wait around in the town for a little while while you guys go ahead.
What?
you
That
shouldn't- you
is
should
a
not be by
terrible
yourself.
idea.
Look, guys, I'm just looking for an excuse to sit down with my books. I got a lot of spells to add to my list.
Look,
That makes
didn't
sense.
you want to make it to the library at Cardolan first?
Yes. Yeah.
So that's next. Second of all, that's not a terrible idea, but I think that we need proof that we could get you to where he's going to be. I think it makes more sense right now if we leave this town quickly and don't tell anyone where we're going, and
And if they ask,
do our best to obscure our trails and
Right.
ensure that it's not easy for him to find us through any means other than magical. Scarlet, I
He's
guess whenever we get to
whispering-
somewhere noticeable or understandable, close your eyes or like hide in a wagon. I don't know. How does scry work, guys?
It that would do nothing.
Yeah.
Putting her inside a windowless wagon?
Wizard,
Well-
can you cast it on her?
That could.
All right.
It's I've
He's
I've gone
going
down
to
this
keep-
avenue before. It's quite expensive, and I mean we didn't even get paid for our recent good deeds.
Sorry,
You never perform
Wizard-
a good deed to be paid.
Correct.
Wiswick.
Anyway, speaking of, I need to
We
make it
should-
Elspeth.
We
It
should.
wouldn't-
You know
Timber-
what we should do? You know what we should do? We should just go find him and get it over with.
Timber walks upstairs to Elspeth.
That doesn't work for the same reason, right? And we can continue
If
this
it's
argument.
us he's after, we need to
There's-
stop him.
So we get to go and die? That sounds great. Very noble of us.
No. We didn't
Yeah,
die
I
last
don't-
night.
Normally I'd be with you,
We
Scarlet,
did,
but-
actually. No. Right?
Yeah, after what's been going on lately with people rushing into things, we've definitely got to take this from a smarter perspective. If we could get some more information from Elspeth, see what his forces look like, maybe we can get the upper hand on him. But if he's got too many men, like he did in the last town we were in, Orangeshire, we can't do anything about that.
Fine.
If we make it to Caer
just go get
Dolan,
her.
we'll have the law on our side, because he is for sure doing illegal activities, and we aren't, right? So we could rely on at least having other people around to help.
Just go get her.
We could lose ourselves in the crowd.
Timber, as you go upstairs, the door is already open because Wiswick had left her in there. Embla's in there, tending to her right now, because she woke up and she found a forest gnome in the room, covered in wounds. And she knows Elspeth, so she is tending to Elspeth and looks up to you, Timber, and just says, "What is going on? What is she doing here?"
She came to us last night. Her home was attacked by Thatcher. Is she conscious?
I think she will wake up soon. He made it all the way north. Well, he is braver than he used to be. I suppose when you control a city, you can be.
Sounds more like desperate.
It is rash of him to march into the forest and set fire to part of it, if that is what I presume happened based on her burns. But his own facility did just explode a day or two from there. This is not good, Timber.
No, this is not good at all. So, we have to keep running until we have a plan. A good one.
Watch after her for a moment. Are the
Sure.
others awake?
Yes, they are downstairs.
Okay. So, mid that argument you guys were just having, as Scarlet says, just bring her down, essentially. You hear the footsteps of Embla coming down and looking to all of you individually. And she just says, "I presume, based on the quarreling, that you all are aware of what has happened."
Indeed.
Not about everything, but most things.
She should be
We heard
awake
from
soon.
Timber.
She should be awake soon to tell us more. You all have had a skirmish with Thatcher. I have a longer relationship with him.
What do you know about him?
He's, as you know, cunning. Able to predict a lot of moves, but also, more importantly, he has eyes. His ability to predict his enemy's moves is not because he has foresight. It is because someone sees everything. Now, I do not know if he is tracking us magically. She just sort of looks over to Scarlet. Or if when we thought we were being careful, we were not. We had a pretty rocky escape from that town, though I know that we did leave some alternative trails. But there may have been other situations where we were less careful.
What do you think we should do?
Well, if he is going so far as to march into Taram Run and burn down a whole section of the forest, I would not advise seeking him out alone. He has enemies all over. We are not in the Highland Syndicate's territory. And she'll look back to you, Scarlet. We are in your territory.
I don't know if that helps us or hinders us.
Both, I assume. We have the might of the crown here, but we also have a competitor. We will not move as brashly through these territories, I presume. Certainly not with a noticeable brigade of brutes and grunts to burn the cornfields here.
Do you think he would keep decimating things? I can't live with that. He's killing innocent people because he's looking for us. The only way to
If
stop
I
that is
may.
to go to him.
Thatcher seems the type to kill innocent people simply because he wants to. It has nothing to do with us. He could have gotten that information without killing anyone. He's just a cruel, cruel man.
Kieran. And just kind of looking at you. Don't.
Apologies.
I think that perhaps you should continue with your course. You all have a goal, a place to be. Is that not wrong? Sort of.
It's true. As much as I would love to dismantle the crime syndicate he seems to have built up, all the terrible things it's done, we have much more pressing matters at the libraries of Caerdolan.
You're not close enough to your mic.
Much more important than people dying for no reason.
Yes, the decimation of our entire plane of existence.
What?
Yeah, I
Remember
mean,
how it came? Have I not been
Yes.
stressing this enough?
Right, no,
I
we
thought by
remember
now
the
you all would
Paladin
have
King.
learned.
Kieran,
I remember the Paladin
I was
King.
being
The
dead.
desolation of entire.
How
What?
being dead?
We didn't really talk much about that. Are you okay?
He takes a second, actually, and you see when you ask, "Are you okay?" Like his face kind of goes like. I saw
Groups
all
for the
die.
podcast listeners.
I saw all of you die. Multiple, hundreds of times. I saw our world burned. I saw innocents die over and over and over again. I watched the last vestige of my goddess, the dead moon above it, Alicia, crash into the land so many times. No, Wiswick, I'm not okay. But I'm here now, and I'm smarter for the time I spent there. What I can say is this. There is a real threat out there. Thatcher included. He is a threat. Do not let me diminish that. But there are larger machinations at work, set into motion thousands of years ago, during the ancient Morsir conflict. And I fear fate, destiny, the will of the gods, whatever you want to say. There's a reason we are here now. These events are happening.
All I'm saying is, you've been through a lot, and it seems like you were touched by some serious dark magics.
Touched. No, Wiswick. I was tortured by them. They still live in my mind.
So, I mean, I want to believe you, but honestly, you're sounding a little bit like, I mean, I don't know what a good way to put it is. It's compromised. I mean, yeah, I mean, you've always been kind of against the darkness and wanting to do what's best for people and stuff, but I mean,
I still want to do what's best for
can
the
you?
people.
What have you learned? Like, did something happen that made it more urgent than it's been?
From my time speaking with Maius, I've learned much about his kind of Skaithfuelum. Creatures of the Shadowfell manifest within other planes of existence, taking over it, stealing their souls. Maius was one of the stronger ones that had control over the Feywild. He worked with the Wayward One. His deal was that he could corrupt the Feywild, infect it with his shadow ilk. And during this time, a piece of an ancient god, long dead thanks to the old pantheon, an entity known as Nyalogoth. You remember the name, correct? We found it in the old journals.
Yeah.
A piece of that dead god, who could not be fully killed, was planted by the Wayward One, or one of his people, at the base of the Ash Keeper. There, the entity that we now know as the Pallid King has grown. A massive worm, devouring the Feywild, building an army. Just this morning, I saw...
This morning?
in a vision, I saw the Pallid Worm erupt from the ash. The same one we saw when we were in Maius' realm. You remember, it was hard to miss. I watched it collapse as this beast erupted from it, bringing his armies, smashing through the planar walls, creating a conduit to our world. It has not yet come to pass, but I fear if and when it does.
Yeah, couldn't that if is a big if though, right? Couldn't this have just been a vision with an attempt to break you down or to hurt you in some way? It doesn't necessarily mean it's prophetic. They would be lying if they were just trying to do that to you.
No, I had this vision as I was attempting to commune with the Crescent Heart. I know it was her that sent me this vision, or a combination of her and my connection now with the Shadowfell.
You know this for a fact?
98% sure.
If the Shadowfell is breaking out into other dimensions, it must mean that it is somehow getting its power from some dark source. Perhaps Nyalogoth isn't the only force in play here. I mean, we've been having I recently had some strange things happen to me when using the orb that we found in the forest during that whole explosion. You know, that nasty business. And
Sure.
I don't know what type of darkness that was or who was the original owner of this thing, but it seemed somewhat different from what we faced here, what you're talking about. I'm just worried we're a little bit in over our heads, and I don't know what we can do to help in the long run here. What do you want from us, Cal? What did you talk to your god? Like, what does she want us to do?
I think you mean me, Biswick. I'm Kieran.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Kieran.
I asked her if I was on the right path. I know that I am. My path right now, as we've all discussed, is to head to Cardolan, to do more research, to find out more about the workings here. I don't know.
Cardolan it is then.
Right. I'm sorry, Scarlet. Thatcher, the Syndicate, they play into this somehow. His knowledge of the Pallid Mask is frightening.
All the more reason we should talk to him. Or it might be beyond conversation at this point. Can we at least hear what Elspeth has to say?
Of course, that was never off the table. It's just, I think it was important to get our priorities straight.
Timber, at this point, Elspeth would be waking up upstairs.
Oh God, there you are. No, you wouldn't act like that. Oh, I see you're awake. I've been staring at you for the past 45 minutes.
She looks at you.
At least I wasn't holding a decapitated head, so got that going for me.
All she says to you, saying that, is, "Did you get a good look?"
Yes, I did. After a long pause. How are you feeling?
Well, I'm feeling like I got hit with. I don't even know. I feel like
Do you want to drink?
absolute shit. Absolute shit. That's what I feel like. I feel like absolute shit.
Do you want to drink?
Yeah.
No,
I think I do.
It's early, but Timber just reaches back in his back pocket where he has the flask. Here you go. Take a big swig.
She'd take a big swig of it and then straighten herself out and shake it off a little, stretch a little. Where's Scarlet?
They're downstairs. Do you sure want another swig before you go down there? And there you go.
Hey, thank you, Timber.
No problem. Least I could do after you helped us. I've got the question for you. Whenever you have time, some downtime. Before we leave.
Yeah, let me go talk to them first.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're all sort of sitting somewhat quietly down there, after that conversation, you do see Elspeth slowly comes down. Good morning.
Good morning, Elspeth. It's been...
I go down too. I'm not just standing upstairs, right?
Yeah, I imagine Timber.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Timber, you just immediately curl up in a ball and go back to sleep.
I'm sorry.
Cal is serving the breakfast he cooked,
I'm
which
pacing
is
back and
just
forth.
random objects
Yeah, whatever was in the
put
kitchen.
into a pan.
Chair.
Yeah,
It's
it's basically a hash. It's a hash, but it's
it's a hash made out of rations and eggs.
yeah, pretty much.
So there wasn't a lot of fat to be rendered out of the rations. So there's just these like hard pieces of meat in the eggs. But Timber helps Elspeth down, and she sort of looks to you all. She's got one eye swollen shut. She's got several bruises across her body. And some burn marks across her clothes, and her usual frizzly, popped out hair that usually has little acorns and pine cones and other herbs and roots in it. Some placed intentionally, some that made their way there. Is just somewhat frazzled and dry and singed. As she sort of slowly brings herself up to the bar and lifts herself up onto a stool, takes a big swig of water and starts eating the hard hash.
Wiswick does exactly what I'm doing and is staring at her intently.
I'm sure the wolf man told you a little bit.
I have a name.
Timber. You lean forward more, Jen. You've got some mic issues.
Do this to you?
Yeah. Whoever he is, he really doesn't like you all. And she kind of looks between Scarlet and Cal, particularly.
Elspeth,
Describe him.
We are.
Well, when we first saw him... Well, first we saw the fire. Ron was out patrolling. Slipped past him. He came running back when he saw the flames. And I woke up when I started to hear the clamoring. There were a lot of them. First, distinct people that weren't just pushing folk around and burning things and cutting folk down. I saw Dragonborn, green scales. An orc. And a fellow I didn't even know what he was. Yellow pallid skin. And then he came. Long leather coat. A cracked mask over his face. A corner of it was destroyed. Shards of it were missing, and you could see this scarred mouth underneath. A hole in the side of his cheek. The flesh barely holding on to each other. Gray skin. Red hair. He said
was-
it did. Go ahead.
He wasn't even disguised.
That's all we saw him as.
Well, some of those descriptions were familiar. The dragon person from the town that we escaped from.
He
And
saw me. Unfortunately.
yeah, and those two other people that she mentioned, those sound like the passerbys that we saw on the way up to the forest. So clearly, he does have eyes. Like all those people that were just described were people we've seen along our travels. Like he might not even be using magic to follow us. There might be somebody in this town right now who works for him.
And that is why where we're going is Oranshire. Isn't that
No.
right?
Yes. Yeah, we have
Okay.
As
to.
you all look around, and the only
Deal with
odd
it.
person here is Carvia, who's still passed out.
Right.
That's why I was confused a bit internally.
Right.
It's like, who are we paying this for?
Elspeth, did he say anything?
Well, he told us you didn't want to play games. He was sick of games. What? He brought down Taramran. It felt like a sick game.
I'm so sorry.
If it wasn't for Baelnion, we'd have died. He destroyed something beautiful. Something we took care of.
This never should have happened.
We wanted to know where you were going.
Ooh, that means that he does not have magical scrying. That would mean he does have the Eaters of the People.
Did you tell him anything?
Told him we didn't know. He said you left and went south. You didn't tell him about your desire to cross into Oxland. He didn't like that, though.
Thank you for doing that, Elspeth.
Yes, thank you.
Well, when Baelnion started attacking them, Tamran was able to get free. And we saved who we could. We ran into the tunnels. They couldn't find us down there.
Those tunnels are wide and vast. I traveled them myself. They won't go through the effort to hunt them down. Even if it is their only clue, I believe Taramran can keep your people safe. You've got to have faith in him.
Regardless, I need to go home. I only came here to warn you.
Thank you.
You hear a little bit of squirming in Elspeth's satchel that's attached to her staff. As you see a little pseudo dragon peeks its head out, as it just sort of like it's coughing, as if like it's coughing up a hairball, but it just sort of flutters out from the bag, just holes in its wings, the leathern of its wings, as it just sort of struggles to fly over to her and land on the table, as it just sort of lazily and droopily snuggles up against her as she feeds it some hardened rations, as it barely nibbles on it.
Poor little guy.
This never should have happened.
You're right, Scarlet. It never should have. A lot of things never should have happened. My goddess never should have died. The Wayward One never should have tried to conjoin the planes in existence, but they did. They did, and now we're here. And Elspeth,
Cal puts
we
his
are-
hand on Kieran's shoulder as if to be like, all right, okay, we get it. I didn't say anything, just that.
Yeah.
Right, now. And Kieran pauses. Elspeth, we are terribly sorry that this has happened to you because of our actions. It's true. What has happened has happened. The best we can do now is try to prevent it from happening again.
Oh, we don't blame you.
Of course. But if there's any way we can help, please let us know.
I just wanted to make sure you were right.
We appreciate that.
Wiswick looks like through his pages of his book, and he says,
Maybe there is something I could do to help.
and he quickly starts jotting things down and copying something into his book. And he's like mumbling to himself, but for those who are close enough to hear his chattering, he says something along the lines of,
If I learn this spell and I use it, maybe the satyr, or perhaps I can make an escape.
You see, Elspeth is not really eating in that way that someone who's gone through something hard doesn't really want to eat. She's just sort of trying to feed the pseudo dragon at this point. And she sort of looks up to all of you and just says, "Where will you go now?"
We won't tell you, so you can't tell. Kieran says, coyly winking.
He lets out a very light guffaw.
Elspeth, how did you know that we were here?
She looks over at Wiswick. Taramrine gifted you all with something. Gifted Wiswick something that I was able to connect to. Just for a moment. It took a lot out of me to get here. This attack at first I was separated from them. Taramran took the rest and ran into the tunnels. I wanted to save Baelnyon. I didn't want to leave him. But they cut him down. And I had to flee. Use all of my powers, all of my illusory magics, tricks of the Fae. It took us a few days to get back together. And once we were together and I knew that they were safe, I used whatever I had in me to find you. Because you needed to know.
We appreciate that. As I've probably said a few too many times.
So then again, this only happened 3 days ago? Is that what you're saying?
Something like that.
So they could be on their way here 3 days into their journey. If they have information that we are here. Okay,
Let's hope they encounter that wyvern.
right.
I'm I'm gonna take a look around the room to A, make sure that Carvia is actually asleep and not faking it, and
Mhm.
B, just to make sure that there's nobody like at the door or like around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, give me a perception check.
As soon as Kieran said, maybe they'll run into the wyvern, Scarlet will slam down her dagger and she will go back upstairs.
Timber is going to... Elspeth, I will be right back, but I need to go grab something for you.
Yeah, what was your perception check?
18.
Okay, you go up and you kind of like Carvia has like a hat over her face, and you lift it up, and she's just she's absolutely definitely passed out still, hard sleeping.
Good.
You look around, you look outside, and people are just like weirdly happily in the streets. Like you see people who just are like,
Yeah.
like they just like woke up after not being able to sleep for 6 days, and they're like, what the fuck is happening?
Wiswick
That's good.
pulls Timber aside.
Timber left.
Well, like
Timber's gone.
grab on the Timber. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Timber already
Closest
went
person
upstairs.
to him, I guess, Kieran.
Kieran, I need more. I need more paper. I need more materials. I have a plan. if I could learn the teleportation circle spell, perhaps we can make an escape for the people surviving the Underdark to find a new home, someplace safer. You know, like with that satyr and Magin set. It could
As-
all work out if I just need more time to figure this out, and money and paper. I need lots of paper.
Okay, well, I want to just quickly a few things. Who are you saving? The Fae that has escaped from Thatcher's attack? Yes or no?
If
Is that who you're? You
If I
said
can-
Underdark. I didn't quite make that connection.
yeah, I want to save the people of the forest, the refugees of the Feywild. If
Okay.
the spell circle that I left on Timber's wife's tomb is active, perhaps I can make a portal to that location from where we are now. It's a stretch, but it might work.
So you want to teleport us back to the massive tree?
If anything, I can open up an entranceway so that they can come here or somewhere else that's safer. It doesn't necessarily have to be here.
Right. I like where your head's at, Wiswick. But I feel Tara Moran and Elspeth have the situation under control to the best of their abilities.
I look
Can
over
you-
at Elspeth. It's like,
What do you think? Could it work?
I don't know. We're working on just getting out of there.
I think part of their connection, and correct me if I'm wrong, Elspeth, you have a connection with that tree, that area of the forest. There's still some Fey magic left in it.
Folk will not do well outside of the forest, those that survive.
And we've seen Mandrick. He was well, but for a creature so far removed from the Fey, he was, as I recall, tired and worn of his time in our...
We need to bring them north. We need to go the Boxskins. They're the only ones who can protect us there.
I feel,
You all
unfortunately...
can't protect us there. As much as
Right.
I'd love to have you and make you all supper again, I don't think we can save our home. Timber,
what's a
what are you doing upstairs?
I'm not going upstairs. I left
Oh,
to go
Oh, okay.
to Brim.
Prim.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right. Well, when you rush outside, are you in wolf form, hybrid form, or humanoid form?
I'm in humanoid.
Okay.
I was hybrid in the tavern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you go outside, you notice folk are just sort of happier in general. People are well rested. You hear people gossiping and saying, "Oh, there was nothing last night. I sat on my porch. It was beautiful. I haven't seen the moon in so long." It's just like people are just like ecstatically gossiping. It's just like if you it's like I'd imagine it's like a smaller version of like the fall of the Soviet Union, and it's just sort of like whoa, or whatever. And it's the fall of something. That's
what a
What?
reference!
Yeah.
You could have just said the crowd after a concert.
Or like maybe the
I-
day after we get a vaccine of COVID.
Yeah. It's like that. It's like that. It's like a vaccine that cured their problem. All right.
Oh, I can hug someone again.
So,
oh.
you-
Sorry.
Yeah. You can head towards where you know Prim's home is, if you'd like.
Yes.
Okay. When you get there, you knock on the door, and Jack answers. And you see that Jack is in there with Prim. You see several small chests of gold there that they seem to have been preparing. as Jack looks to you and says, "Ah,
Hello,
fortuitous time."
Jack. How were you able to sleep?
Yes, quite well. Although me and Prim and I had a long discussion last night, and even longer
Alright.
in these early hours.
What about? What about?
Well, about the future of Summer Linden and how to reward those who saved it.
Are you to take over for Lady Linden?
I
After?
don't know.
No.
The revelations of my birth and my relations to the Linden estate are... We have not decided what to do with it, or what I want. But we will slowly but surely bring everyone into the fold. And I think that the people of Summer Linden should have a voice in what happens next. But what we can do for now is use the wealth of the Linden estate to help the people of this village, but also to reward those who saved us from what I think you could see was annihilation.
It was, Timber's like cringed a little bit at this. It was our honor to help you folk.
I suppose you will all be leaving soon.
That is correct.
We would love for you to stay, but I understand that this is not your town.
Right, we have tidings in Oranshire that we need to take care of.
Good. Well, if you find your way near Sumalinden or Noxlin, a month's time or so, return. We should be having a festival around then, and I think the townsfolk will be pleased to truly celebrate for once in a
That
while.
would- I'll make note of that. I'll inform the group.
What
Anyway,
brings you here?
is Prim. I have heard many stories that you are an alchemist of sorts, and I've seen your potions that you've given Cal with. Do you have alchemical ingredients here?
Certainly. I've got a whole storeroom packed back there.
Would you like to trade some?
If you're in need, we'd absolutely be happy to give you what you need after what you've done.
Great. And we could do a whole exchange of some stuff for elemental water.
Sure.
Cool.
Mhm.
But I can, if we want, we could do that later. But I am gonna grab at least one. Actually, two wild sage root, so I can make healing potions for Embla. And that's what I'll do in
Absolutely.
the fast-paced version.
Sure, no problem at all. All right, so back in the tavern, Elspeth is finishing up her meal. You see the dragon, the Yasuda dragon, is now on her shoulder, looking a little bit more lively. She'll look to you each and say, "Thank you for whatever you've given us. I'm glad you are safe, and I hope you take these tidings to heart. I don't know if he'll find you in this country. Man, it's been a long time since I have been out of the forest. Look at this place. Look at this place. It's so dirty." But he really must be heading back.
Of course. Thank you again, Elspeth, for everything you've risked, everything you've sacrificed. Know that it is not for naught.
Well, if that guy was so eager to get to you, well, he's a bad man. Must be doing something right, maybe.
We're trying, at least.
Elspeth, maybe if you are successful in saving everyone and heading up north, perhaps we could see each other again. Maybe you could visit Caer Dolan, or we could find a way. I could find a way to talk to you, or something along those lines. Would that be okay?
Of course.
We always have sending.
Of course. I had hoped that this would not be the circumstance of our reunion, but we'll still be around. Taramon and I can take care of ourselves. This won't be the last time we see each other.
Wiswick gives a light smile and says,
Better not be. Don't you worry. We've gotten ourselves into a lot of trouble in the past, but there's still more trouble to be found in the future, you know? Like, I know that with us together, we can pull through this.
Well, I hope so. And she goes over and grabs the staff, and she notices the full Fey font. Just sort of taps it on the ground and smiles to the rest of you as she starts to step away, and she turns back to you all and says, "Give Scarlet my best."
I'm sure she would thank you as well.
From
Timber
all
as
of us,
well.
of the Wayward Five, thank you for everything you've done. Again, for like the 10th time. Just want to make sure you know.
Cow. Jesus Christ. Cal gives his deepest bow of respect. Genuine, too.
She returns the bow, kind of leaning on the staff to bring herself down, and kind of lifts herself up, and she looks to you, Cal. She's like, "Oh, it's so fancy. It's so fancy here outside of the forest."
That's just Cal, always.
Well, safe travels, Wayward 5. Stay
You
safe.
too.
The same.
Seeing you.
She steps outside, and you see through the boards up on the window, because you shattered it last night. A flash of green, a flash
2
of
nights
green
ago.
light. It's true. That's true. 2 nights ago, a flash of green light, and the sounds of the writhing roots of the tree that made the doorway for her to return to Taramon and their folk.
As soon as the flash dissipates, Cal turns around and goes, "Robert!"
You hear a very loud, like clamor as someone clearly falls out of a bed that was recently vacated, and he was like, "I'm gonna get on that bed off this floor." And you very clearly hear that, and then a stumbling down as you see him pulling his tunic on over. He's like, did I miss Elspeth? Is she okay?
She's fine. There was an attack at the
Home.
Wayward home, but she and Taramon are alive apparently, and gathering what's left of their friends to head into the Wood Elf territory. Point is, we're leaving, and you need to go get Rocky and the horses, and gear everything up, please, if you could.
Oh yeah, sure. I don't have to talk to that Pugsley kid, right?
No, do you know where it is?
No, I know where it is, but he's not gonna be there, right?
I don't
Who?
think so.
All right.
Who's Pugsley? Never.
He's not. All right. Good.
I give him the money for the stable, unless we already paid that.
All right. Actually, you already paid it.
Okay.
And he sort of clambers out for a moment, forgetting to put shoes on, but then running back.
Shoes,
in.
Robert.
Shit. Yes, sir. Mr. Cal, sir. And he runs upstairs.
Thank you.
Comes speeding back down, tripping over himself and out the door.
All right,
As
so
he's doing-
let's gear up, and as soon as Timber gets back, we can head out. Yes.
I was gonna say, shall
Where did he go?
Trump.
Did he...
Elspeth, where are you?
You broke
I
up
got
there, Steph. I can hear you.
Yeah, Karen, you broke up for a
I
second.
stopped talking because a lot of things started happening. Kieran was just gonna say he looks between Cal and Wiswick and so goes, and then Timber enters, and then the laugh track goes, and then he looks at Timber and goes, "Should one of us, And he points up the stairs towards where Scarlet.
Yes, I'll go. Now, just
Well-
everyone else,
well-
because Cal's stuff's already together.
Well, I will just say, as Timber returns, he has there's a cart outside with 5 chests of gold on it for you all.
But we
Thank
can't
you.
see that because the windows are boarded up.
28
Yeah.
perception, can I see it?
We'll get to that after our break. Because it's about half hour after we normally take our break, so I want to take that break real quick, folks. We'll be right back. We're just going to take a quick 5-minute break. We might even be back a little bit before that. So stick around for more as our Wayward 5 make their way out of Simmerlinden and on to the next journey. All right, folks, we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to Advantage in Paradise. Thank you for sticking with us through the break as our Wayward Five are preparing to leave the town of Summerlinden better than they found it. As much as it was against their instincts, except for Curon, they did it. They freed the town of a cursed entity that also is connected to the Pallid King that has been following them through the entire campaign.
Is that what's been going on?
No, this has all been Robert's story, really. But anyway, Timber, you approach the tavern at this point with Jack and a cart drawn by a single horse that has each of your rewards on it. You have acquired and brewed potions based on your time up there with them. Jack looks to you and goes, I presume that you would be wanting to leave, so perhaps I'll wait out here and you can let me know when to come in or bring them out here. I don't know how
Let me go inside and see what them come out.
All right.
Thank you, Jack.
Certainly.
And I walk inside with potions in hand for Elspeth.
Well, you just missed it.
Oh. Okay. I didn't even say. Okay. I had a question for her. Damn it. Cal, Kiran, it was like, they are. We've got a cart of gold outside from Jack.
Oh, goody.
A cart of gold for what?
I presume for helping them, this town.
There was no agreed upon reward.
Well, I guess karma.
Yeah,
exists.
you gotta learn to accept the kindness of strangers, Kiran.
Shut the physic.
No, that's my job.
Where is Cal? Scarlet? Oh, Scarlet is upstairs. Oh, Cal is dealing with that. Let's go count their gold.
Yeah, Wiswick's running outside.
Huron furrows his brow as he follows.
Mm-hmm. All right. Cal. Scarlet, where are you right now?
I am in my room making a lot of noise, just storming around the room, just like packing very violently.
I remember being a teenager as well.
What is on your mind for my own reference?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
She's thinking about this is all too much. Like, she's so conflicted right now. She can't fathom how evil her brother has become. She doesn't want to be thinking of him in this way, but at the same time, she can't excuse his behavior. And she didn't even thank Kieran for fixing her arm, and she's mad. She's mad. Why?
Cal knocks on his. No, I don't know what he's doing.
It's for Cal knocking in the door.
Yeah, Cal knocks on the door to his own room.
What?
Hey, can I?
Are you rethinking it?
I enter the room and I just kind of like sit there. I guess I stay in the door frame, really.
Yeah, so when you open the door, you would see Scarlet is just raging around the room. She is cramming her calligrapher supplies back into her bag, definitely like wrinkling the quill and the paper that's in there. She's trying to stuff like her old cloak and some extra clothes in her bag, but she keeps getting tangled in it, and she's not paying attention to what she's doing and just getting so frustrated that the clothes aren't going into the bag. And you hear just every so often, you just hear, "This is too much. Too much." And then she'll like like go to like rip open the bag to keep putting stuff in, and her ball bearings will spill out everywhere. And so she'll just throw the bag down, like put her back against the wall, and just like sink down onto the floor. What do you want?
I was well, I was mostly getting you as we were leaving, and you missed Elsbeth. She had to go. We said thank you on your behalf. Cal's looking around like, oh boy. How's your shoulder?
Cal, I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know what to think. I don't know what is happening. This is too much for me to handle.
Well, maybe. And Cal gingerly steps over the ball bearings to get over to the other wall and sits down next to her. I think it's too much for any of us to handle on our own.
Yes, but it's not your brother, is it?
No, it's not. You're right. And I don't know, honestly, what to say to that. I don't know. Nothing in my experience or I think any of our experience can actually know what you're going through, but
He was never like this. That's not him. That's not his personality. I don't know what happened. He used to be so kind and charismatic.
Mhm.
I don't know who this person is anymore. And I can't stop thinking, if I had found him earlier, if I had tried harder, if I had slept less or something, I could have stopped him, or at least I could have prevented him from getting this far, and he never would have gone and burned the forest and put Elspeth and Taramron in danger.
I look her dead in the eye and I say, do you really believe that? Do you really think that there's more you could have done?
Yes.
Based on what I've heard, I don't think so.
Yes. There has to have been something I could have done. He's right, 10 is way too long.
Well, look, as I said, I don't know how to put myself in your position. I don't know if any of us can, but what we can do is deal with it now. The past it's already happened. There's no way we undo that, right? So it's step forward, one foot in front of the other until we get where we're going.
What is the plan? What are we doing? How are we going to fix this?
Well, the plan is, at the moment, travel away from the danger in search of a way to come back and deal with it. Because we don't have the ability right now. We don't have the manpower. We don't have the individual strength to do it.
Maybe.
I saw what he was capable of. And that's him alone. How many men does he have working for him? How many soldiers? How many magic wielders? The 5 of us alone can't do it. It's certainly not in the state that we're in right now.
Maybe it's just me he wants. Maybe I should just go find him myself and just end it.
And what? Submit yourself to him so he kills you or whatever it is he's going to do to you, and that's it? That's the end?
He would stop looking for us and stop causing so much destruction.
Yes, to the people we know. He would still cause destruction to all of Sivia.
I have to make this right.
And we will. We will. We just can't right now. So as I said, pick yourself up and keep moving until we can. And with that, Cal, because we're sitting on the floor, I believe.
Mhm.
Cal pats her on the knee, stands up, and starts picking up ball bearings.
I'll like wait a couple seconds, just like gritting my teeth and just like angrily wiping away tears, and then she'll get up and start helping you.
As you two slowly take one step at a time to pack away Scarlet's things, the rest of you gather your own belongings.
Yes.
You've discovered that you each have made 1,000 gold pieces.
Holy
Ooh.
guacamole.
I have money yet.
Are we running out of space in that bag of holding?
Never.
I'll say it's like portions of it are in platinums to make it more manageable. There's not just like this pile of gold in the back. There's very small chests that have a mixture of platinum and gold that makes up 1,000 each.
What are you waving to?
Just making sure I was disconnecting.
Oh, okay.
So like 50
You- the three of
platinum and 500 gold pieces.
Let's say that. Yeah. Wait, what? I don't think the math does that math work? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yeah, I'll say 50 platinum and 500 gold pieces each to make it a little easier to manage. The
Is
three
there
of you are
enough?
out there counting. Enough what?
Is there enough gold for me to use telepathy to Scrooge McDuck dive and swim around a little bit?
No. This is like when someone opens up a briefcase and it's like, "This is $1 million," and it's like one thing of bills. That's
Damn
like
it.
that's like what you'd be trying to jump into.
Yeah.
If you asked for it all in coppers, maybe. But that is not how this works. The three of you are out there counting up the gold, taking it off, putting as much as you can away in your own personal bags, but then also putting some in the bag of holding and loading up and helping load up the cart with Rocky, Embla, and Robert. As you notice, Cal and Scarlet step out together with their last belongings, as there is a brisk, cool summer breeze in the air. The sky is quite clear. You see the faded visage of Vero in the sky, and very few wisps of clouds, as there is a bright road ahead of you. Jack looks to each of you and just sort of rubs his hand after kind of giving away all of the gold, and grabs the reins of the horse carrying this cart and looks to each of you and just says, "Well, I don't know. I hope that is enough to thank you."
This is
More than enough, Jack. Thank you.
We really don't even need this. We should probably just give it back.
Nonsense. There's plenty in the estate to take care of the town.
Okay, good.
Repair.
Turns out clerics need cash to make their magic go boom.
I've
Even
heard.
the gods. Even
I've
the
heard.
gods need their bills paid.
bit of text.
Fickle
out or
creatures for
something.
sure. But I hope that you return one day, and that Summerlinden is better when you come back, and we can properly celebrate this victory. I know you must go, for you only meant to stay here shortly. And I'm glad you did stay when you could have left.
Thank you, Jack. And Cal walks over to shake his hand. You're a good man, and the town could do far worse, I say, and I chuck him on the shoulder, and I horse.
And he laughs a little and then says, "Well, safe journeys ahead, Wayward 5. Hope to see you again."
Oh, and if you see a guy with a weird mask on, don't trust him.
I don't think I'll trust many strange folk who give off culty vibes, as I've heard it's called.
Yeah, definitely culty vibes. You've got that right. But we're looking more along the
Excellent,
lines of
I say,
butchery.
talking over Wiswick. I say, talking over Wiswick.
And slowly pulling Wiswick back towards the
Yeah.
cart. As Jack just
Hoisting him onto his pony.
Yeah. As Jack just says, it says to you all, well, the hospitality of Summerlinden will return, and hopefully we can give it to you when you return. But to the road.
If you have need of us, send word in Oranshire,
Certainly.
I say. And I crack the reins.
As you each mount up your horses or into the cart and begin making your way, as you are on your horses and Robert and Rocky are piloting the cart as you make your way northeast out of the town and heading towards Cair Dolan. It'll be roughly another week until you get there. But you're traveling at a fast pace along presumably safe roads. You make your way out of Summerlinden, and at first the roads are quite untended to, uncared for. People of Summerlinden were not clearing brambles from their path. As you move through, for a moment you think, did we get lost? Are we on a game trail right now? But it's just a path hidden beneath the bramble. But mile after mile after mile, and towards the end of the first day, you find yourselves onto a more cleared road. And you camp out for the first night. Another night under the stars after not a long time, but long enough of a time to have forgotten about the gnarled root in your back when you sleep. Although you accept a gnarled root over the disruption of a nightmare seer in the middle of the night. A comfy bed with strings attached in Summerlind.
Around the campfire that night,
Mhm.
Kiran, as the group is gathered hither so, as it were, such it is, shall be, Kiran goes, so I know we kind of left off before on a bit of a... We know where we're going, but if there's more to be done concerning Thatcher and his pursuit of us, myself or Wiswick could always send a message.
To him?
Yes.
It can be dangerous to play into his head games.
You're not wrong.
I think we should hold off on that until it's needed. I think the more reason we give him to be angry or inflame his need for vengeance, or even the more opportunity he has to probe our own for answers that we might give while slipping up or something. I think it's an unnecessary risk, is my point.
Of course. My only suggestion would have been simply, we're coming for you. And leave it at that. I understand
Possible.
why I didn't send it before consulting the group.
He needs to hear it.
I think it's
Could be
not
useful.
a bad idea to antagonize him.
He needs
If
to hear
he's
it.
still chasing us, there's less danger. At least we know what he's doing, instead of him plotting something that could be even scarier.
I think Kala is correct. I don't think we should be doing. He's a smart man. Giving him more suspicion of our whereabouts. What would you say, Kieran?
We are coming for you. 5 words. I think that's all it'll take.
So I think the gamble here is do we think he's smart enough to see through that as either a bluff or is he so ruled by the anger that would just make him come after us harder? Or would he accept it for what it is and take it as a threat and go home and try to shore up his defenses there?
Now, the one thing, yes, he might waste resources trying to defend his territory. Now, it would be two pieces of evidence if he does have eyes in everywhere. And
Well, we're heading into.
word has it that we're going to Oranshire. And this would also help that argument. But like you said, it might be an unnecessary risk.
I just like the
Here's-
fact that Kieran wants to lie to somebody. I think that's pretty nice. Maybe I'm rubbing off on him a little bit.
No, I believe that was the unholy entity known as bias.
The emotion of the room gets sucked away.
Yeah. Kieran was
Everyone
maybe a
goes
buzzkill
quiet
before,
for a while.
but it was a buzzkill out of innocence. Now he's a buzzkill out of horror.
Timber takes a swig.
All we hear is the clanking of
Yeah.
tin camping plates on tin, or tin camping spoons on tin
Yeah,
camping.
it's just
Yeah.
crickets and the tin spoon on the little canister of your rations. As Embla will look to you all and say, "Oh, since I have been with you, you keep speaking of his knowledge of Pallid Mask, and I've heard you speak about cosmic destruction and annihilation and horrors. What makes you think he's not holding back right now?"
When I spoke to him, his connection with the Pallid Mask was less of a union, if you will. Our previous encounter with the Archmage Orlin seemed it was a gift, a tool that he was using for the benefit of the Pallid King.
He seems like he was proud of the fact that he had beaten it
Indeed,
in some way.
he had taken it for his own use. Is it possible? I'm not entirely sure. He could be lying to us, it's true. But no, I feel a difference from him than Orlin. He may have more powers, it's true, but his connection with the larger picture, I think, is minuscule.
Without saying anything, Wiswick pulls out the orb of forgot what it's called. Hold on, it's in my equipment. But
It's the Oculus.
the Oculus. Thank you. I had Observer Orb, and I look at it and I think, but I don't say anything, and I just hold it in my hand as we're talking. And you could see when Curon mentions like that he seems to be getting stronger, or his connection was weaker in the past. Like I grip it a little tighter, and I'm looking very nervous.
And you would just see Wiswick the flickering of the reflection of the campfire on the sheer darkness in the orb. Every now and again, the wisping smoke inside gives way to that tiny little light of green that just for every time when you see it once in this stare, and when you see it, you wince for a moment, thinking about being pulled through that realm to scry on Lady Linden. Curon, with your passive perception, you would absolutely notice this.
He sees it and he gives it a moment as they're discussing. And then, Wiswick, you had mentioned earlier your attempt to scry previously with that orb resulted in a strange sensation. Why do you hold it now?
Well, it's a powerful magical device. If I'm able to control it as I've done in the past, it could prove very useful in us figuring out what Thatcher knows. Perhaps we could mislead him if we could spy on him, even if it is for a brief moment. But if I take this risk, I don't know what might happen.
I don't think that's worth it. I think he'd be able to tell.
I'm less worried about what he'd be able to tell and more if this thing is as powerful as, say, a pallid mask, if I'm capable enough to beat it using Thatcher's words.
Can I see that orb?
Wiswick hesitantly doesn't let go. He's like,
I don't think that's a good idea.
Why not?
Whoever the previous owner of this orb was, he was a really powerful dark magic
We
caster.
know who the previous owner most likely was. It was. 1 second while I consult my notes.
the harvester.
Cillian Fox, most likely. And he.
Killian Fox was the researcher, not the original
Right.
owner of this orb.
Well, we found the orb with him.
I saw someone different. I don't think some random researcher could create or get something. He got this from it. This thing had the same dark green magic as the harvester. It's not something that Killian created.
I never said that. I simply said it was in his possession before you acquired it.
There was an older owner. Killian got it from someone.
I agree.
I don't know how, but
That entity that we encountered, I believe its name was Einhart. It has a connection to the Wayward One. So, I believe that orb of scrying you have there, as I will call it, is connected to the Wayward One. And as I recall, would I recall what his realm was? I don't want to carcerate. As I recall, his realm was known as carcerate.
I think this is the first time Wiswick's heard this word.
Mhm.
Is there a? Does it bring back to mind? Can I roll a history or an arcana check to see if I remember anything about
Yep.
this Carcerin?
History or Arcana.
I mean, it's the same for me. So we rolled
I
the
know you-
dice tonight, guys. I got a 16.
And the first roll was Cal's perception check, and the only roll in the first 2 hours. What did you get?
No, Scarlet rolled insight checks. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's true. And they were very important
rolled
insight checks.
I rolled a 3 plus 13 is 16.
Unfamiliar. You know, it just doesn't ring a bell. Yeah,
Man,
right
I
about
never
this
get
plan.
anything else.
yeah, I don't know anything about that. Perhaps we could. I just don't feel like the risk is worth it at this point. It's better if I learn more in the library. Only then will I feel confident to give it another try. Or maybe I'll just break it now.
Well, it's a priceless magical item. I don't know if that's the best move. As far as you're aware, the scrying can only be used when we access it, correct? It's not like it's a two-way keyhole.
No, it requires attunement, so it would have to be the owner channeling his own magic through this device in order to activate it. From what I can see, there's no remote access functionality.
Okay. So no need to destroy it at this time.
You have to destroy the Palantir, Italian.
When we go to Caerdolan
Yes.
to research this mall, was your plan to alert them? to bring the marshals of the crown upon this investigation.
If I may, I believe we should leave Thatcher to them. Though I do think consulting different heads about the situation is warranted.
I currently have a connection from the librarians that was given to me by a General Kinsley. I don't feel comfortable letting the government take over what we've done here and what we know. I don't think I'm not sure that they'll do the right thing with the knowledge that we can provide. But perhaps if we can make a fair trade, if we can provide our information, perhaps we could look.
Oh, no, Wiswick. This is the first time it's happened to someone that's not me.
Great.
There he is.
I'm good.
Oh,
Am I
you
frozen?
were.
You're back now. You're back.
Hello? Oh jeez. What was the last thing I said?
Something about a trade.
Yeah.
Yeah. If maybe we can trade information. I don't trust the government enough to handle the situation, but if we can perhaps figure something out about the source of magic or the gods that you're searching for, Kiran, maybe we can make a trade and that could be the benefit of both parties.
I would not recommend giving this to the Quintaki.
Cal has not listened to a word anyone said in like 28
Yeah.
minutes.
If this
Why not?
information is important and needs to be brought to someone greater than yourselves, I say to bring it to the Gwyn.
The Gwynells.
Far more trustworthy than the Quintaki.
It's hard to get into the it's hard to get into the bright shows these days, isn't it?
Yes, unless you know the right people in Indurus.
Do you know the right people? Oh, wait.
I got
You
here.
do.
And she does look to
I
Cal
feel-
at that, but
Cal kind of goes.
I feel...
as he's like suddenly not having to think about this for the last month, is now like, oh god.
For the podcast listeners, Cal just shrugged his shoulders and waggled his head around in like a embarrassed manner.
You're on. You were saying.
I feel this information may best be received by the Elysians. Not
Got a
the
Council
false.
Elrond situation going on. Go ahead.
Not with the false Queen Ayla, but with the... What's his name? The other monarch?
I don't think I gave you a name, but
He has a title,
Tyrant
though.
Malik.
the Sovereign. The Sovereign.
The Sovereign,
It's
yes.
acclaimed film director Tyrant Sargon.
I believe the Sovereign could be of more help here. We Elysians have much left to do since the Marcia conflict.
That is, cannot say that I've ever known the Elysians to be of aid to those outside of the Sinvosu Peaks,
You're not wrong, but
although you may have proven me wrong in that already. Whatever it is, I just say I would not recommend giving it the Quintaki. They can barely
Honestly,
manage
I
the
would agree.
kingdoms. We all saw Servolt. I've watched it decline over the last 20 years.
yes.
Well, either way, Dolan is just about the midpoint between those two locations anyway, and it has information that we need. So this is a plan that we can make as we get more information.
And you hear
I'm going to bed.
You hear a loud. As you look over to Robert, as he's looking around. Like, yep. All right. Anything else anyone would like to do before we speed forward?
I'll say as I'm getting ready for bed or getting ready to go off to get ready for bed, I will look at Kieran and say, if you do end up sending him a message, will you add something for me?
Of course, but I will not be sending without the group's consent.
This time.
But if you want to say something to Thatcher, you could say to me, and I'll that cathartic, if you will, release of.
Well, if you're going to tell him that we're coming for him,
Yes.
I'd like you to tell him to go hide in his tent. He'll know what that means.
Of course.
Also, it was very ungrateful of me earlier, but thank you for this.
Say no more, Scarlet. It was not me, Atilvia Vanya. Your
Right.
work's not done yet, he says and winks at her.
Right. And she goes off to go to bed.
All right.
Next time
So-
you speak to Ilyavanya, can you tell her that I wanted some answers? She's got some really cool magics, and I'd really like to learn more about it.
Wiswick, if it was only that simple.
You all find respite in your tents, bedrolls, carts, whatever you decide to sleep on under.
Tiny huts.
Over. Tiny huts, of course. And you awaken the next day and continue the journey onward towards Caradolan. The road becomes busier as you get closer to the capital, and the surrounding land becomes less wilderness and more small clusters of farmhouses and other industrious timber yards. You reach a point where you're almost, for a moment, missing the forest, because there's no forests anymore. There's just fields between small clusters of industrious buildings or town or
We've
farmhouses.
arrived in Nebraska.
Welcome to
Welcome to the Soviet Socialist Republic of Nebraska.
Yeah. Welcome to Idaho. Or any Midwestern state. Welcome to Southern Indiana. It's just where I've been, where there's all the corn. But anyway, I'd say it's about it's about 3 or 4 days into your journey at this point, where you find yourself on the road, and each day you're no longer alone on the road. You'll see at least 1-2 carts passing by. Usually some kind of farmer bringing different materials. You saw at least one cart that had some heavy boxes on it that were stacked, possibly tall, as there were 4 horses pulling it. They seem to be coming from a small industrial area where there was some significant sawmills and whatnot working. You start to pass more luxury good farms as well. You start to see some farms devoted towards providing material towards vast breweries. You see some orchards as opposed to the typical subsistence farming. It's just much more rich lands than you've experienced before. And the people look well fed and happy as you pass through them. You reach on your 5th day, I'd say. You're very close at this point to Caradolan. You've been passing mostly through these towns with little rivulets of roads leading off into their small hamlets. But finally, you reach more of a cluster, probably the last small town before Caradolan. You're approaching at night, a place to rest. It's not as large as Summerlinden. And it's more so, honestly, kind of like that crossroad you encountered where Brian the courier was. In the sense of it's a crossroad and there's 4 clusters of buildings. As you're approaching, the sun has set beyond the horizon, and the first thing you notice is a non-torch or gas lantern light coming from the center of the town. And it is blinking a ethereal magical color.
What color?
It's green.
Does it look spooky?
How
Kind of in the fog of the night at this point.
are we close enough to just see if this is like a fixture, or is there just like a free floating magical light hanging out?
Should we roll wisdom
No,
checks
no,
to see if we're frightened?
Yeah. No. But as you all approach, you can see it. It's quite clearly. It's a fucking sign.
Oh.
Whoa.
And it just
Is it-
says Frog Hollow Gin Bucket.
That's a very long inn name.
And it is in front of an inn. That is
Manner
that
of
is-
sorcery is that?
It's very large, and it just seems like this strange floating fixture light in front of it that blinks. You notice a second one, smaller, more towards the door, that blinks and says open 24/7.
Vacancy.
It's a dive bar. Is this a fantasy dive bar?
Which looks like I really like the style of this place.
Does Cal recognize
It almost looks like paradise.
this light type?
Say that again, Cal.
Do I recognize the type of light that this is?
It's not like the light fixtures that you saw in Thatcher's
That was my
hideouts
question.
or anything like that. I figured that's what you were asking. No, this is not Gwyn electricity. Essentially,
These
like
are magical
electricity.
spooky lights.
These are spooky magic lights. They were created without any mechanical interference.
So, riding up on our horses, Cal's looking up at it, and he looks down, and he looks back up, and he goes, "Well, I'm sold. I feel like we could use some drinks." And then he dismounts.
You see very quickly a half-elven gentleman rushes over to you from a rather large stable on the side that is well decorated. The wood fixtures are all carved beautifully. They're painted. You can see the animals in there are held very well. There's a lot of feed. It is a beautiful place. It has its own gas lanterns in there. There's no torch.
Oil?
Oil. Yes, sorry.
That's just like
Gas lanterns.
got natural gas running through this whole
Natural
town.
gas. Yeah, they've got a whole tank underground, and it's not telling anyone
Are
about
they
it. It's magic.
fracking in
It's
Oxland? Are they
magic.
fracking?
No, thank you. Oil lanterns. He comes rushing over. He's half elven. You can see that he has a pale blue complexion. He is likely half drow, and potentially half. You actually kind of notice he has a shorter and squatter form than a typical elf. He might be half dwarf, half drow.
Ah, a dwell.
A dwelf, as you will, yes. As
will.
he has a thicker beard than most elves would have, and his hair is like kind of like an orange ginger color that matches the blue of his complexion quite well. But he comes walking up to you very, very formally and says, "Oh, welcome to the Frog Hollow Gin Bucket. My name is Davlos. I'm one of the proprietors here. You've got quite the cavalry
Train,
here.
yes. Yes. Do you have rooms as well, or is this merely a drinking and eating establishment?
Oh, of course we have rooms. We're closest, most well-respected 24/7 establishment towards Caradolan there is.
Have I heard of the Frog Hollow Gin Bucket in my extensive rich kid life?
Give me a history check, actually.
Fun. No.
I figure you guys might need a little fun. You've not heard of it, no.
Yeah,
To the extent where Cal, for a moment, you think of it as slightly
That's
shabby.
a 7.
Yeah, a 7. Okay, you're like, if I haven't heard of it, then this is bullshit. This is marketing.
Yeah.
Oh yes, of course we've got rooms. A lot of you. We've got plenty of space. Be happy to bed your horses for the evening, take care of your cart, make any repairs necessary if you've got the coin.
Yes, of course. Thank you. I think most of the horses could. No, we did that in the last town. The horses are fine, but the cart could probably use a once-over. If you notice anything, feel free to fix it, and we'll pay the bill.
Oh, certainly, I'm an expert carpenter. Actually, there is a name for it. I think it's literally
Wainwright.
Just thank you. I am an expert Wainwright. I have. It's mostly what I do here, besides the cooking, and the brewing, cleaning. Right this way.
Wait, are you the owner of this establishment?
I am the I am the co-owner with my partner Miles.
Cal immediately changes the ideas that he had about this location. He was like, "Oh, lovely, like a real place with all-inclusive stuff." No, okay, I get it.
Yes, I am my partner Miles. He and I founded this place a while back, and we've been happy ever since. But come, bring your cavalry to the stables, and we will see to them.
I do so.
Excellent. How many horses do you guys have again?
1, 2, 3, 4 plus 2 for the wagon.
Yes. Okay.
Well, 3 and a pony. No,
3 and a pony.
3 and a
5 and a
pony
pony.
plus 2 for the wagon.
Yes, correct. 3 and a pony plus 2 for the wagon. All right. Pairs. He kind of examines all of it. Walks over to you, Cal, as you're all taking your stuff, dismounting. He has examined the car. And he says, "All right then, we've got 5.5 steeds. We've got a cart that's seen better days. So you've got some uneven Wainwright terminology.
Axel.
Axle. That is literally the word I
Axles.
was trying to think of. Yeah, the only word I was trying to think of. It seems he like looks at the cart and he's like, "You've been pushing this thing quite far."
Yes, well, we've just come in from Tresix, and are en route to the capital for a bit
Oh,
until we
lovely.
head farther north. So perhaps getting it looked at here is not a bad idea.
Ooh, farther north, going to the 2 bridges. Are you going to Sivia?
We're headed into Sivia. I have contacts there, amongst them a fur trading captain, who I have a bit of an investment in.
Quite profitable, the furs of Sivia.
Yes, definitely. It's been definitely a return, but since it is the summer months, I figured I would head up and.
Oh, it's a lovely, lovely time to go to Sivia. We vacationed
Exactly.
there once.
Oh, nice.
Yes, it's lovely during the summer. It is quite brutal outside of the certain months, but
I'm
you've
sure.
got plenty of time to get there before the first severe
Precisely.
snows in the north. Excellent. Well, I'll start working on this, get it all ready. I'll probably have to do a majority of the repairs in the morning since it is a bit late.
Of course. We'll be here till at least midday.
Perfect. Excellent. Well, enjoy your stay. Head on inside. You'll find Miles right away. He's a charismatic fellow, and he'll get you sorted with rooms.
Thank you, Davlos, I think was what he said his name was.
Davos.
Davos.
Perfect.
Excellent. Thank you,
Davos.
Davos, is what I actually say. I turn about. Bring
As you
everybody
turn
in.
out, Wiswick is hiding behind you, and he looks at the other guy and looks up to you. And as we're walking in, he's like, "That guy didn't seem like a savage murderer."
Right. No, I don't think he was. I mean, he's an innkeep, and while Imbla might be a bit of a savage murderer for an innkeep, I don't think they all are. I say, like, with a smile, but I'm not. Yeah.
She gives you a playful glare back
That's
as she
good.
just is gripping at her hilt. But you head on inside, and the inside is it's quite lovely actually. Sorry, I'm just pulling up my Yurch.
Real quick, actually, if I may.
Yes, certainly.
Before entering, Huron scans the area, specifically looking for Crimson Court Watcher Lady, Thatcher people, pallid masks, other suspicious goings-ons, etc.
All of it, just everything.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. He's looking for everything, but specifically those 5 things, specifically etc.
Yeah, that's the big one.
Love it. Go ahead and give me a check. Perception.
Natural 20.
You immediately pick apart the element that makes up every object you see.
You immediately see exactly where Thatcher is. No.
The ladybug
There's a
has landed on
little
the
monster
G on
coming
the
out of a
side.
mouse hole in the wall.
What? Anyway.
33.
Oh my goodness. 33? Well, that blows a lot of DCs out of the water. I'll
That
say
sink your battleship, DM?
that's a hit. That's a hit.
I hate that.
That's a hit. And
Yeah,
Look,
he had a single
they're not
turn
all
and he
good,
sunk a
Tim.
ship.
Yeah. Anyway, you look around as everyone's sort of hustling into this tavern for the nice warm light, the smell of good beer and good food. You kind of take a moment before entering in to examine your surroundings. Everyone's, on a certain level of high alert because of what you've talked about, but you are more on high alert because you've just come back from a torturous realm of pain and chaos. So you look around, and at first it's all very quiet. You hear kind of the burning of oil lanterns. You're looking around, and you just see these blacked out windows of closed shops. As it's approaching, 8 or 9 o'clock at this point, and the shops are all closed. You can see some lights on in the second story of some of these homes, or above these shops. This is very much a very old-fashioned, like Shire center, where like people come here, they sell some goods, they might buy some needed everyday belongings. There's like one market shop in here that sells everything that people need, and then some residential homes to take care of this general area. There's trees about. The road is semi-cobbled. The one thing you do notice is you're looking about and you stare off towards the eastern road, and you see something dart behind the tavern. You just see sort of the billowing of a cloak.
Huron approaches it.
You approach and stare down what is essentially a tiny alleyway between a house and the tavern, or the stable. You hear some horses sort of whinnying in there. You see nothing by the oil light lantern torch.
Even with my unlimited dark vision.
What I'll say, since you got a 30-fucking-3, that natural 20, is that the cloak you saw billowing was red.
Huron calls down into the alleyway. I don't know what you want with her, but you cannot have her. And he turns to leave.
As you turn to leave, you hear a voice respond. It is scratchy. It's the best way I can put it. Like someone who has significant scarring over their neck. You hear it and you look up, and you see their silhouette on the rooftop of the house next to the tavern. Cloak semi-billowing in the breeze, the faintest little red dots in the eyes. Very clearly either the exact same assassin stalking you, or someone who is of the same class of super secret Cirrus-controlled spies and assassins. And all they respond to you is, you know who she is. You know what she's done. Why protect her?
I know who she is now. I don't know who she was then. Now, she's a good person trying to make amends for terrible things she's done.
You hear the shifting of shingles on the roof as the figure stands tall at this point. You can see two jagged daggers in each hand that they're holding out behind them as they stand up tall. And you can pretty much just see this black silhouette with two red tiny dots in their eyes. For a brief instant, you get a flashback moment up to Maya's, just from the sense of these two tiny red eyes. There's just a moment where you're like, but they stand tall. As you puff your chest out.
I'm big, strong too.
The Crimson Core does not forget. They do not forgive. We will come one day. You cannot stop it.
You can try.
And you watch. They fade into shadowy darkness. It seems to dissipate in the breeze.
Wiswick
Well,
catches.
What's going on, Kieran?
Just saw a specter in red, if you will. Come, let's drink, eat, and get some rest.
You sure? I mean, that's not concerning to you. Maybe we should find a different inn.
No. I think they'll find us no matter where we go. But we will deal with that another night.
Inside.
Let's relax. It's been a while. Inside.
Inside, the rest of you find a beautiful tavern. The wood interior is a lovely dark cherry wood. The tables, it seems to be magically lit by these ever-burning torches that give off a very cozy lighting into the space. The first thing you notice is that the walls are the limit to the niceness. The main area of tables that you think would be as nice is not. There are innumerable two-top tables that are made of cheap wood and have very poor seating. All along the sides are booths that have split leather seats. There is a large wall around a hearth that is... The hearth is very tiny inside of a very large mantelpiece. Like ridiculously large mantle all around it for a very small hearth that has a single pot on it. The wood all around the hearth has names etched all in it, like across the entire thing. Parts of that same wall have names written in ink across it. You see on the opposite end is a single bar that has innumerable bottles of liquor behind it, and a single beer tap, and then a swinging door that leads back to a kitchen, where you can see a single Firbolg who is hulking up in the back, and you see he's flipping cast iron pan that's flipping a late night omelet in it. As you see, there are only a single group of patrons in there, which are a group of teenagers in the corner who are drinking coffees. As you've essentially entered a fantasy 24/7 diner. As you see a halfling sitting on a very tall stool behind the bar with a safe next to him that is open, and he is counting coins just out in the open. He has frizzled and staticky out orange hair. He is wearing a very nice tunic with what is pretty much the equivalent of a bolo tie on. And overalls, typical halfling style, high-waisted pants with essentially just overalls. And his feet are bare. He's got the traditional curly halfling hair just sticking out as he sort of looks up brightly at you all. He's got very bright blue eye, and the other eye is very clearly fake. Very clearly not a real eye. You can tell it's wooden as you get up close, as there is a gash across his face, a scar, as he just looks up to you all and goes, "Oh, welcome to the Frog Hollow Gin Bucket. Welcome to guests. Welcome to my humble abode. You looking for rooms? Or you looking for drinks? Or you looking for omelets?
I think we're looking for all three at the moment.
I presume you met Dave out back?
Davlis?
Oh, Dave.
Then yes, we met Dave. He took our horses.
Excellent.
They're in the stable, and he said that we could find some some rooms and some drinks and some food here.
Well, seat yourselves wherever you're comfortable, and I'll be right to you.
Excellent. Cal looks for the nearest comfortable table and/or booth that sits his whole party.
There is definitely a half-circle booth on the opposite side of the tavern from the tiny hearth that could fit all of you.
I head towards the circle booth opposite the tiny hearth.
Okay.
Wiswick wonders if this place is Greek.
You all sit in there. You do that awkward thing where you all bunch up into the booth. And you're all kind of on a half circle seat, like you're looking out like a council, but you're there. And as
there isn't a chair at the end of the.
There's an awkward chair. There's definitely one awkward chair at the end, which for some reason I imagine Curon sits in.
I will take the ring.
That's too many.
Timber?
I would like Timber to go underneath the table. We'll go to like the furthest part, and then as he's like transforming and like going up underneath the table, like.
You see, as soon like the halfling waited for you to sit down before he got off of his stool and ran off. He was just sort of like, right this staying. And he hopped off, and you see he comes running back after going into the back, and he has these very tall, essentially wooden plaques that he's holding a stack of. They're very large, and they are the menus. As he comes rushing forward, carrying them, and starts to spread them out on the table haphazardly, and he goes, "Hello, my friends, as you might have heard from my good friend Dave, my lovely partner, father to my dumb dog. I am Miles, owner of this lovely establishment."
Not literally.
Yeah, Miles.
Here are your menus. Can I get you any drinks?
Certainly. I think we're due for a little bit of celebration. What have you got from the top shelf? Preferably either during rum or
You got
I
any
guess a nice Tressex wine.
Nordka? You got any
I don't
Nordka?
know,
Or
guys.
ski? Do you have any ski? I say.
Oh, you're throwing a lot of things at old Miles here. I heard Nordka, I heard ski, I heard Durin rum, and some wine. I got all of it, of course. You're looking for top shelf. If you've got coin, Miles got top shelf.
We'll start with a round of ski for the table, and then I suppose we'll all order our individual drinks after that.
A water
Certainly.
with that, please.
I'll give you the kitty ski, Mr. Elfman. All right. 1, 2, 3. One for the dog as well. Oh wait, no, you transformed, right?
Oh yeah, human.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, coming right up.
So it's 8.
Take your time. Yes, that's right. 8. Yeah. Take your time with the menus. I'll be right back. Take your orders.
Wiswick doesn't look at the menu and he says,
Actually, I saw the omelets, and it kind of got me a craving for breakfast food. You got any, like, pancakes or the type of toast with the cinnamon on it?
Oh,
Something sugary?
Oh, well, my good friends, you're in for some lovely Eastern Tresix pastries and goods of the delicious breakfast orient. Of course, we've got
Did you say the
Trescient.
breakfast orient?
I meant orient, like
He did.
orientation.
Oh, okay.
We've got Trescient toast, of course, like you said, and we've got the halfling flapjacks.
Wait, if you have breakfast food, that would mean that you have bacon as well?
Oh, we've got so much bacon.
Okay. Can I get the bacon for the table?
I have not been to a diner in too long, IRL.
Huron leans over to Cal and goes, "Is this pronounced gyro in common?"
No, you're close. It's gyro. It's kind of a soft g in the back of your throat. Gyro.
Oh, you humans and your strange languages.
Most of them call him a gyro. It's fine.
Oh, yes, of course, the gyro. All right, well, I'll go get you.
There's lamb in there, Q. You can't eat it.
Oh. Oh, thank you.
Do you got any of those halfling
Let him
syrups to go with those
first.
halfling flapjacks? You know, the Smucker's ones that you could stack up?
Let me go get your skis and your bacons, and I'll be back. As he wanders off.
Sean, you're gonna need to decide when to end this because we're gonna keep going with this forever,
I
and it's
know.
already like 11.
I know. I wanted you to get to this tavern earlier, but no. We won't spend too much time here. Whatever. You look at the menus. It's literally diner fare. Pancakes, omelets. You've got Enduran breakfasts. You've got Several breakfasts. You've got a tuna melt is on there.
it's the longest menu you've ever seen.
Oh yeah, you go through the back page and there's Enduran chicken parm. There's just everything in there.
All right.
There's lobster.
Well then, if we want to fast
Don't order
forward
on
a
Durin
tad,
at a deli. That's
I
the
will
number
order
one.
what Tim Rohn always orders at every diner he's ever been to, and that's the mozzarella sticks and a Reuben, please.
This is a good choice.
Excellent.
Seen any of this food before?
Scarlet. Yeah, Scarlet. You. I mean, some of it, yeah, like standard fare, but like you'd never have heard of like chicken parmesan.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. Yeah, no. You'd be especially considering your palate, unbearably overwhelmed.
Yep, just being at this and shh.
Like I imagine Shannon is in a diner.
The woman found a raisin in her porridge once and had a panic attack.
So
Okay.
Miles comes back
Morale.
with a full rasher of bacon for all of you, and a shot of ski for each of you. And he looks to you each as he puts it all down. He actually is holding a tray that has it all on that's floating. He's not casting a spell. You just don't see him. He's not doing
magical.
anything. The tray itself.
He's
is
not
just
doing
floating.
anything. It's a magical tray.
As he brings it and he kind of leans up and pulls it all off and goes, "What are you celebrating tonight if you're having so much ski?"
Well, honestly,
Our life.
we're celebrating You didn't have to say it that way. We're
Oh,
celebrating.
well, life is a great thing to celebrate.
So we'll put in our orders now.
We've got
Life,
ourselves,
liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
We've got ourselves a Reuben. We've got ourselves some some French toast with a side of halfling
Tressic
flapjacks.
toast.
Get a vanilla
Messian.
scoop of ice cream on top.
Oh, you've got it, little man.
I would like one of those as well, please. They sound delectable.
You've got it, tall man.
I
Wait, are you
just like
vegetarian or vegan?
a grilled cheese, please.
A grilled
Vegetarian.
cheese.
Oh,
Would you
yeah.
like a side of tomato soup?
Sure.
I nodded her yes.
Yes.
Yes, you
Apparently I
do.
do.
Is excellent. Oh, Frog Hollow back there is the best cook I ever met. Better than Dave
course.
for sure.
His name is Frog Hollow because he's a purple, and this is where he's from.
You know your
Yes.
Theobalds for sure.
We've run into
Tall
a few
man.
of them.
All
I'm
right. Well, I'll go put your orders
Not a
in.
man.
If you
I'm
see
an elf.
Dave, tell him it's his turn to walk the dog.
Are you?
All I'm saying is, we've been here for like 5 minutes, and he's
Yes,
already
we
refilled
are,
my coffee
Mr.
like
Tall Man.
18 times.
I don't know anything about that. I'll go put your orders in. As you see, stumbling down the stairs leading upstairs is the most geriatric, like bulldog that you've ever seen in your life.
Oh, I love him already.
With the thickest underbite ever, just sort of like crooked and the tooth sticking out. The lip is always stuck on it. As he's just sort of like. As it reaches the bottom of the stairs and it just sort of immediately throws up.
Huron looks at it and goes, "What the monstrosity is that?
That's the dog.
Kieran, it's a dog.
That's Doug.
Dog?
I
I've been
kind of
into
like
dogs before.
Yes, but they're always more closely resembling the wolves that you humans originally bred them from. That looks nothing like," and he points to Timber.
I don't. We're not gonna get into this tonight. But
Oh, okay.
Background.
we can talk about it. We can talk about it later.
Yeah.
For now,
We can-
and Cal stands up and holds his glass up. I feel like the last few weeks we haven't really stopped moving, and so it's a good time. You haven't had a drink yet, so it's a good. And now's a good time as any to say, I'm glad that you're all here with me, and that we're here together, and that's all. That's it. And he clinks his glass, says Chentan,
Salute.
and because he is meant to be drank in shot form, shoots it.
Scarlet knocks hers back too.
Huron takes it immediately and takes the water.
Wiswick finishes it.
So as you all cheers, you see Embla, no problem. Does that thing I feel like that people do often where they take a shot, but it's like slow in a weird way, where it's just sort
We're
of
like fucking weirdos.
yeah,
There's taking a shot
know?
and then there's drinking it.
yeah, and
Yeah.
she does that. She 100% just.
Ugh.
You see Rocky swigs it back. He's like, I don't know what you've all been doing because I've just been by the cart the entire time. But it seems
You know,
like
Rocky, I've been
hell.
meaning to talk to you. What is your ambition? What are you doing out here, Rocky?
I love
You're
my
not a
animals.
spy, aren't you?
I love my animals. It's best not to get into it. As you see, Robert just
Timber kind of backs away.
Huron pushes the water over to him as well.
Thank you, Mr. Curon.
Just here.
As you all kind of settle down, feeling a little bit of warmth in your bellies as you spent 5 days on the road, talking here and there after a tense, violent event. And this is the first semblance of, not civilization, but the first semblance of hospitality you've seen in a long time. As you feel a certain level of safety being this deep into civilization. A certain distance between you and what was both the wilderness, but then also, strangely, the wilderness of the countryside that entities like Thatcher seem to own. But you're also entering into a territory of politics. As you wait for your orders to come, you hear in the distance, Dave, you've got to clean up after your dumb dog. As the night goes on, and we will end there and continue back in the Frog Hollow gin bucket when we return.
Oh, Sean, we're never gonna get out of this place.
I know, right?
Right.
should have taken me
Yeah.
to a diner.
Maybe we should just agree on like we get 20 minutes to just do a bunch of scenes from throughout the night, and
Yeah.
then we're
Yeah.
gone.
We absolutely have to give
we have
ourselves a
to-
time limit on
yes.
this place for next session,
Sure.
because you could 100% spend an entire session just talking to this weird halfling and
Yep.
his half dwarf, half drow husband.
Love it.
It'd be 100% my fault too. So this is like for
No,
me.
no.
I'm
You
saying
would-
we need to
You would immediately say, "So Miles, what's up?"
talk to me. What are
well,
you doing out here?
you see,
I end up investing in their business.
Like I
Whole
met
fucking thing.
Dave a long
Another
time
one?
ago after I stopped adventuring, and I thought to myself, why aren't there 24/7 taverns?
Wait, you adventurer like us?
Oh, see, yeah, exactly.
Sorry,
Fuck,
sorry.
End the episode. End the goddamn episode.
So what you're saying is that
Chicken
you have
arrow.
bagels? Bagels? Are they on the
Oh,
menu?
we've
Bagels?
got the finest bagels, and you
My
don't
God.
even want to know about our schmears.
Wait,
Um,
how about 2 in the morning?
oh, 2 in the morning, you want a salmon schmear? We've got sun and everything bagel. You want...
End the episode. Get us the fuck out of here.
If you got a sweet tooth,
Eject!
we can give you a...
Eject!
Everybody, thank you so much for joining. This is episode
Thank-
61 of Invasion Paradise.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Make sure you check out all of our programming throughout the week. Return next week to see how the Wayward Five decide to interact with Miles and Dave, the proud owners of the Frog
Yeah.
Hollow Gin Bucket. Da-
The teenagers.
and those
Oh,
teenagers
God,
in the
no.
corner who are really Crimson Court spies, obviously.
Obviously.
And they're definitely goths. Anyway, have a great night, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sticking around with us. Happy birthday, Caitlin.
Happy
from
birthday,
Arcane
Happy
Caitlin.
birthday!
Spectacles. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a lovely evening and hang out with us in paradise again. Good night, folks.
Never.